Picture this, you're a kid and Power Rangers is literally the coolest thing on the planet. The weapons, the suits, and those massive Zods that just destroy everything. I'd rush home from school just to catch that next episode. But I wanted more, something different. And then I found it. A show called Mech X4, and it hits different because this isn't some distant superhero fantasy. These are actual high school students, and they find a giant robot in an abandoned junkyard. Ryan, the protagonist, discovers he's a technopath. He can control any electronic device with his mind. He pilots the mech. His friends Harris and Spider have his back. His brother Mark the engineer is keeping everything together. And his principal? Yeah, she's basically the villain. No, seriously. So today we will Toon Max the show called Mech X4. Grab your popcorn. Let's go. Ryan Walker was faced with an issue none of the students at Bay City High could possibly have experienced themselves. His brother Mark was a gifted boy who was great at everything and extremely popular, but poor Ryan felt invisible. But for some reason, strange events surrounded him. His alarm would wake him up at unusual hours. His toaster didn't work properly, and car alarms started beeping at the mere sight of him. One day, everything became clear when Ryan Walker understood that he can control all that. His brain connected with electronics, becoming an invisible cable. His two best friends, Harris and Spider, didn't want to believe him until he showed them that he really had that gift. When Ryan Walker managed to hack into a vending machine just by using his mind, filling it up with chip. Now he had two believers who were keen on knowing where did that power come from. But truth be told, Ryan himself didn't know either. School's back in full swing when Principal Gray makes her welcome speech to the new freshmen, warning the seniors not to bully the younger kid. That's when Mark decides now's the perfect time to mess with his little brother. He and his best friend Dane pull a prank on Ryan, smearing something on his face, and Ryan's ready to get even. He spots Mark coming down the hallway and reaches out with his powers, trying to sabotage Mark's path. But something goes terribly wrong. Ryan gets hit with this intense flashback of an abandoned junkyard, piles of garbage everywhere. He loses focus and accidentally triggers a garbage machine. Trash covers him and his friend, and of course, Cassie's there recording everything with her phone, asking him how he's feeling about being covered in garbage. Ryan's convinced there's an actual place that matches what he saw, so Harris uses his iPad to track down the coordinates. The three of them bike out to an old junkyard by the river, and when they get there, something massive happens. A lamp scans Ryan, and suddenly the ground's shaking. A ship rises up from the junk, and then the biggest robot any of them have ever seen steps out. This colossal mechanical beast called Mech X4. Inside the cockpit, there's a recorded message from someone named Leo. He explains what Mech X4 really is. It's a high-tech machine designed to be controlled by someone with a specific ability, a technopath, someone who can sync their mind with machine. Leo also drops this heavy warning. Whoever's watching this message, I am either missing or dead, and there's a danger coming to Earth. Something big. Ryan realizes he's the one connected to this machine, and when he moves his hand, Mech X4 moves. When he thinks about attacking, the robot attacks. But then the message cuts off right before Leo can say something crucial. The three friends piece together that this has to be an old recording, that the danger Leo warned about might actually be coming. Harris takes charge and tells them they need to understand this robot first before they do anything else. They need to learn how to use it properly. Meanwhile, Mark's at the garage working on his friend's car with Dane, and Spider shows up. He literally breaks an award and tosses it at Mark. That's when Ryan shows up. He grabs a trash can and dumps it right over Mark and Dane. Spider records the whole thing, and within hours, the video's online for everyone at school to see. Back at home, Ryan's laughing about it until he sees Mark's face and realizes his brother actually feels bad. Mark apologizes, and Ryan feels a twinge of guilt. They're brothers, after all. The next day at school, Harris brings it up, reminding Ryan that revenge tastes good, but Mark's the only guy who actually had something to apologize for. Then everything changes when a saber-toothed tiger dinosaur, an actual prehistoric creature, which makes absolutely no sense, appears outside Bay City High. Everyone's running, screaming, trying to escape. But Cassie's filming the whole thing because that's what she does. Ryan, Harris, and Spider race to the robot, and they jump inside. The monster immediately goes for them, attacking the robot's left arm and damaging it badly. Ryan feels the pain in his actual body, which is weird and horrible. They realize they need someone who understands engineering if they're going to repair this damage, and there's only one person they know who's skilled enough. Ryan brings Mark into the cockpit, and even though he's scared because Mark's his older brother, and this is serious, they need need him. Mark starts working on the repairs, while Spider gets knocked unconscious, and Harris stays with him. Harris keeps Spider safe, while Mark uses his engineering skills to fix every damaged part of the robot. The fight's getting intense. The monster continues attacking them, and the robot takes blow after blow. But Mark doesn't quit. He works through it, and when he finishes, Spider wakes up and takes his place back in the action. They activate Mech X4's plasma punch, and when the monster charges at them, they hit it with everything they've got. The beast morphs into a slime and dissolves into nothing. It's over. They won. Cassie rushes up to the robot and asks them who they are and what their name is, and Ryan hacks the robot's systems to display Mech X4 on the screen. They work together, and they come to the realization that their mission is to track down and put a stop to these gigantic monsters. However, behind closed doors, there is an even more sinister development. Principal Gray is in her office because it is her who created the saber-toothed tiger. In the next episode, Ryan wakes up thrilled about what happened the night before. He's got to tell his friends they need to keep this secret, that Mech X4 has to stay hidden. But before he can even process everything, Cassie shows up and starts praising them. Then the whole school's talking about them. They're heroes. They saved everyone. Principal Gray even presents Ryan with a check for $1 million. His entire reputation shifts overnight. He's finally getting the recognition he always wanted. People are looking at him differently now. Everything's perfect. Then his mom wakes him up, and he realizes it was all a dream. He's just Ryan again. Downstairs, there's this intern or reporter guy who sounds like a cheap knockoff of Jay, Jonah Jameson, and he's on every screen talking about how Mech X4 is the biggest threat to the world. As long as that robot exists, people will live in fear. He keeps repeating it, spreading this narrative that the robot's dangerous. Ryan's frustrated because nobody understands that they used it to save people. Harris keeps rewatching it, trying to figure out what the Leo's really trying to say, what the important message is beneath all that fear-mongering. Meanwhile, Ryan thinks that they need to fix their image. They need to show people that Mech X4 is good, so they decide to use the robot to help people out. They save an old woman whose purse is getting stolen by running down a thief and getting it back for her. Then they help a kid get his frisbee down from a tree. Simple stuff, good deed. But then they see CEO of Harper Futuristics, Seth Harper, who is talking about his coffee meeting. But then one of his employees falls out a window, and Ryan and his friends catch him with the robot. Seth watches the whole thing. He sees Mech X4 acting with precision and care. It fascinates him. Seth Harper becomes genuinely interested in what Mech X4 is and what it's doing. But the fake Jameson guy keeps spreading negativity. He keeps telling people that Mech X4 is dangerous, that it's a threat. Then the reporter says that Seth wants to interview Mech X4. He wants to talk about what they're doing. Ryan gets excited because this is his chance. If Seth Harper endorses Mech X4 publicly, then everyone will understand it's not a threat, it's a hero. Principal Gray hears about this interview, and something shifts in her expression. She decides she needs to make a more dangerous monster. But here others talk about going public with the interview. Harris pushes back hard. He says that he do not want the fame, and we all should gatekeep this stuff. Harris cares about finding the person who built Mech X4 in the first place, because whoever created this thing didn't do it for fame or recognition. They built it for a reason, and that reason matters more than whatever interview Seth Harper's planning. So while the others are preparing for the big reveal, Harris does his own investigation. He goes back to the video made and analyzes it. He figures out the location where it was shot. He finds a van parked there, and boy, it looks exactly what Grandpa Max had in Ben 10. Inside, there's electronic equipment everywhere. He's searching through everything, but he can't find anything. Then he throws a CD away by accident, and that's when he spots it, a hidden button revealed. He presses it, and a secret vault opens up. Inside, there are files and records, information about Mech X4. The person who made it is named Leo, and Leo left behind a diary. Harris finds an old video camera in the vault, and there's footage. Leo's talking directly to Ryan. Leo's telling him never to reveal his identity. Leo's saying it's dangerous. Harris understands immediately that Leo knew who Ryan was before Ryan ever became the pilot. And if that's true, then revealing Ryan's identity could put him in real danger. Harris knows he has to stop this interview. He messages Ryan urgently and starts biking toward the Harper building where Seth's waiting. Meanwhile, Ryan's there with Mech X4, thinking about what he's going to say. He's nervous. He wants to make a good impression. Cassie's there too, ready to record the interview. She's stopped by security security, but Harris shows up on his bike and manages to slip past them, riding right into the building. Seth Harper starting to think Mech X4 won't show, but the robot's there. Harris makes it to the area where the interview's happening and tries to warn Ryan with hand signals, trying to tell him not to do this. Ryan sees the messages on his phone and starts to understand that something's wrong. Then the ground shakes. A new monster appears, this massive tentacled thing, something between an octopus and a snake. The monster throws a giant piece of cardboard and it crushes Harris underneath it. Everyone thinks he's dead. Ryan feels something snap inside him. He's angry, determined to make this monster pay. But Spider, who's watching from a distance, sees Harris is still alive under there. He's breathing. During the chaos, the robot tears off one of the monster's tentacles. The slime from the tentacle sprays across Harris's face, covering him. Mech X4 separates from the cockpit and physically pulls Harris out, saving him from being crushed completely. Everyone regroups, and together they use the plasma axe to finish the monster off. After the dust settles, Harris, he tells them about the warning he left in the video, about the dangers coming. They watch Reporter again, and they see him lying, claiming he saved Seth Harper when it was clearly Mech X4. Ryan, Harris, and Spider decide right then that they're keeping this secret locked down. They're staying hidden. But then Harris notices something strange. His hands start itching. He looks down and realizes something's wrong. He's sick. The slime from the monster contaminated him. In the next episode, Ryan and Mark are goofing around with their robot toys, just being normal brothers for once, when Harris shows up wearing nothing but shorts. They start teasing him about it, making jokes, and Harris not himself. His patience is thin. He grabs Mark and throws him in pure rage. It's shocking because Harris isn't that kind of guy. Harris collapses, exhausted from the outburst. Meanwhile, Spider shows up looking guilty. He was running some experiment and accidentally ruined the rocket system on Mech X4. Harris is lying there, trying to piece things together, and he says maybe I got sick because he actually ingested some of that monster slime when it sprayed on his face during the fight. Spider immediately pulls up Cassie's video from the battle. They watch it together, and something crucial clicks. When the monster died, its entire body turned into slime and dissolved. There was something solid at the core of it, a core stone that the monster was made from. If they can find that stone, maybe Harris can figure out what's making him sick. They all go searching, using the robot's readings to track it down. They find the core stone and bring it back inside Mech X4. Harris starts examining it intensely, running tests, trying to figure out what it's made of, but he finds nothing useful. He gets frustrated, really frustrated, and he snaps at Spider for not telling him about the stone sooner. If he'd known earlier, maybe he could have done something. Spider feels terrible. He takes the rocket parts and leaves. He examines the soil composition, and he realizes something. This stone came from a volcano. Spider got supplies. He's collected tape and other materials, trying to salvage the rocket. When Cassie shows up asking what he's doing, Spider panics. He lies and tells her he's getting rocket parts from some random cart. Cassie immediately asks for an interview. Spider agrees without thinking about the consequences. Meanwhile, Ryan, Harris, and Mark are gearing up Mech X4 to head to the volcano because they need to understand where these monsters are coming from. But someone's watching them. Davidge, who's working for Principal Gray, who records their location and sends the video to Principal Gray. She watches it and suddenly understands what's happening. They're going after the golden syrup. Ryan looks at it, confused, and asks how they're supposed to pick up lava. Is he supposed to use a spoon? Harris is supposed to direct them, but he's completely out of control now. The infection's affecting his judgment, his ability to think clearly. And then it happened, a massive blast. Lava erupts everywhere. The robot gets completely submerged in molten rock. It was intentional. Principal Gray triggered that blast specifically to destroy Mech X4 and everyone inside it. Mark immediately assesses the situation. All the exits are jammed by cooling lava. The oxygen supply is dropping fast. They've got 17 minutes before they suffocate, and then they realize Harris is gone. He's disappeared from the cockpit. Nobody knows where he is or what he's doing. The situation just went from bad to catastrophic. Their only option is to contact Spider and hope he can figure out how to get them out from the outside before the oxygen runs out. Spider's with Cassie, and he's doing his thing, throwing out flirting lines, trying to be charming while she's standing there waiting for her interview. Then his phone buzzes. It's a message from Ryan. Oxygen critical. Immediate help needed. Spider's instinct is to run, to get to Mech X4 and fix it. But Cassie grabs him and says she's been listening to his nonsense for way too long. She was promised an interview, and she's not letting him leave until she gets it. She's holding him back while his friends are literally running out of air. Inside the robot, Mark and Ryan are searching searching desperately for Harris. They find him, but he's not himself. He attacks Ryan without warning. Mark jumps in to save his brother, pulling Harris back. Harris collapses unconscious. Things are falling apart fast. Spider, he breaks away from Cassie and runs. Spider launches his rocket, the one he was trying to fix. He flies straight to Mech X4 and starts working on it from the outside, using tools and sheer determination to override the jammed systems. He works with everything he's got, and finally, the robot breaks free from the lava. It pulls itself out with full power, escaping the volcano just as the oxygen levels hit zero. They make it. Once they're safe and breathing again, they use their chemistry knowledge to create a medicine from some chemical reaction. It's a cure, or at least they hope it is. Harris drinks it, and he's coming back to himself. When he realizes what he did, how he acted, he apologizes to Spider. They hug it out because these guys are brothers. The main boss, the person Principal Gray answers to, Principal Gray shows her a thermal image from the volcano. The main boss then goes to visit Leo, the original creator of Mech X4. He confronts him, but Leo knows something the boss doesn't yet. Well, in episode 4, Principal Grays is done playing around with single monsters. This time, she's going to combine two powerful creatures, a monkey and a crab, into one hybrid beast. She's confident this will finally destroy Mech X4 for good. Meanwhile, Ryan and his friends are back at their hideout, examining the core stone, curious about what makes it work. Harris tries to warn them to be careful. This isn't a toy. But then the core starts glowing. That glow is a signal, and now she knows exactly where Ryan and his friends are hiding. Meanwhile, at Ryan and Mark's house, there's an unknown man sending their mom messages. They thinks their mom might be developing feelings for someone, and he doesn't like it. He tells Ryan to check their mom's phone, but Ryan refuses. He doesn't want to invade their mom's privacy like that. Principal Gray and Davidge are working on their next creation. They've got another monster core, and they've got a serum that can accelerate its growth and power. Davidge takes the core and carries it deep into the forest, dropping it there to let it develop, to let it grow into something that'll make the last monster look weak. Back with Ryan and Mark, the tension between them boils over. They're arguing about their mom, they're fighting, but suddenly a monster appears. It's the monkey crab hybrid, exactly what Principal Gray designed it to be, brutal and viciously intelligent. The team scrambles into Mech X4 and engages. The monster's claws are sharp, and one of them rakes across the front panel of Mech X4, leaving a deep gash. For a moment, the team panics, but they make a tactical decision to retreat, and Principal Gray watches, and she thinks they ran because they were scared. Back at their hideout, Ryan is trying to process what just went down. Later, Harris tells them straight up that they need a laser, powerful enough to cut through that core stone and see what's inside it. There's only one place they know that has that kind of equipment, Harper Futuristic. The four of them head to the building, and when they walk in, they're amazed. The place is incredible. Ryan hacks the security system to get access codes. Mark takes a pass and separates from the group, as he needs to find their mom. The other three head deeper into the facility with the core stone. They start working on it with Harper's laser equipment, trying to open it up and see what's hidden inside. Then Seth Harper shows up. He catches all three of them red-handed. Ryan quickly thinks on his feet and lies smoothly, saying they found this stone in the jungle and just wanted to experiment with it in a facility with the right tools. But then the security office reports 4 people in the building, and Seth realizes one of them is missing. Seth looks at the core stone carefully, and then a fire alarm goes off. The building's evacuating. Everyone's moving toward the exits. It's chaos and confusion. Ryan comes outside and immediately realizes it's a false alarm and someone triggered it deliberately. Ryan goes back in to get that core stone. He puts on a mask and heads back inside. That's when a ninja appears. He ninja reaches for the core stone, and Ryan attacks with a laser burst, but then the ninja does something unexpected. He grabs Mark, and he's holding him as leverage. Ryan's faced with an impossible choice: protect the stone or save his brother. There's no choice. He gives the ninja the core stone. Both of them come out of the building, and right there, they run into their mom. Ryan and Mark immediately start telling her how worried they've been, how they think she's making a mistake dating this stranger. Their mom listens to them, and then Seth appears. He introduces himself, and he asks their mom if she'd like to go on a date with him. She agrees. Now Ryan and Mark don't know who the ninja really was, but you guys know it. It was Principal Gray herself, and she's got something else now too. In the next episode episode, Ryan arrives at their hideout in the junkyard on his skateboard. Harris is in the middle of building some kind of weapon upgrade. Spider's over in the corner, fixing the remaining damaged parts from their last battle. Ryan can't stop thinking about all the fights they've been through. The memories keep flashing through his mind, making him anxious and tense. Everyone can see it, so they tell him he needs to chill out and take a break from the constant stress. Mark's got other things on his mind. He wants to go to DJ Live's concert. Harris suggests that Ryan should enter the skateboarding competition coming up. Meanwhile, Principal Gray received orders from her boss. She needs results, and her next target is figuring out all the people are who work with Ryan. She's going to expose them one by one. At the hideout, Harris is showing Ryan something incredible. He's been tinkering with those anti-gravity devices they found earlier, and he's integrated them into the room itself. He's even built a 3D refrigerator that can print food. It sounds impossible, but Harris shows Ryan how it works. Ryan takes a bite and is genuinely impressed. Then Ryan gets an idea. What if he used anti-gravity devices to compete in the skateboarding tournament? He could beat Jimmy Wilson. Harris tells him about the app he created that scans for monsters. Back in the city, Mark's at home when his mom arrives with Seth Harper. Mark is rude, but Seth doesn't get defensive. Instead, he asks Mark if he still wants to go to that DJ Live concert. Mark be like, hell yeah, but he doesn't have a ticket. Then Seth makes him an offer. If Seth can get a ticket without using his money, without his CEO connections, then Mark has to let Seth spend time with his mom. But if Seth fails, then Seth will post on the internet that Seth is the biggest dumb person in the city. Mark accepts the deal because he's confident. At the skateboarding competition grounds, Spider's filming Ryan as he practices, recording his progress as he gets better little by little. That's when Jimmy Wilson shows up. He's been winning this competition for 3 straight years, and he knows it. He shows off his amazing talents that leave everyone astonished. He's got the crowd's attention, their admiration. He's the guy to beat. Meanwhile, Principal Gray gets a call from her boss. She needs to deliver results, so she's going to put the students in danger. At the concert, Mark and Seth have made their own plan. They can't get in the front door, so they hide in the bathroom and wait for the crew to come in. When the crew arrives, they try to slip out with them, but they're clumsy about it. They drop the box they're hiding in at the competition. Ryan and Spider show up ready to compete. Jimmy Wilson's there too, and he immediately starts making fun of them. Then Principal Gray appears. She tells Ryan she came because she wanted to see him play, and there's something unsettling about the way she says it. She does something to his hand. Harris gets a monster alert. He sends Ryan a message. The competition is about to start. His number gets called as second in the lineup. He changes the list so his number comes up later, giving him time to deal with the monster. He and Spider use the anti-gravity devices to escape the competition area without anyone really noticing. Principal Gray watches them go and recording everything. The monster they're heading toward is a hybrid of a saber-toothed tiger and a dragon. It's vicious and powerful, but they work together and they destroy it with their energy beams. Back at the concert, Seth's trying to execute his plan to get a ticket, but Mark stops him. The concert's already over. He's lost his chance. Mark reminds Seth of their deal. He promised to get a ticket without using money or connection. Since he failed, but then Seth says something that changes everything. He tells Mark that he's been working hard on all these things not for himself, but because he's aware of the fact that you two are special to your mother. He wants to earn their trust. Hearing that, Mark softened. He tells Seth he doesn't need to post anything on the internet. Seth can use his money and his connection. In fact, Seth calls that DJ and arranges for them to come to their house to perform a private concert. Their mom gets to enjoy a full concert right there at home. Back at the skateboarding tournament, the competition resumes. Harris finds Ryan and pulls him aside. He tells him, "You never cheated before, and people have loved him for being honest, for being real. He doesn't need to cheat now." Harris's words hit deep. Ryan realizes his friend's right. He steps up to the course with full confidence, ready to give it everything, and then he falls. He doesn't land it. Jimmy Wilson gets the trophy, and he's thrilled about it. He celebrates, and then he disrespects Ryan, mocking him in front of everyone. He goes further and disrespects Spider and Harris too. That's when Spider and Harris make a decision. Everything changes there, and then Ryan gets back on his skateboard, and he uses the device. The crowd suddenly erupts, and his aura changes. But Principal Gray's watching. She knows where they are. In episode 6, the school announces a camping trip, and Ryan, Harris, and Spider are being sent out to the forest. Harris is genuinely terrified because he's heard stories about this place. The story about a cafeteria worker who used to work in that forest, and the villagers tortured him. Now he's out there somewhere, attacking anyone who comes into his territory. Story sounds like an urban legend that gets passed around. Story might be true. Here, Mark doesn't want to go, because this camping trip is for children, and he's not interested. He'd rather stay back and relax then. Principal Gray shows up and talks to the three of them about how important it is to go camping. When they arrive at the campsite, they meet Park Ranger Jeff, telling them that yeah, those stories they heard are real, but all that stuff happened a long time ago. These days, nothing dangerous happens in this forest. Then he wants all their electronic devices. No phones, no tablets, nothing. It's a strict no technology zone. Ryan tries to sneak his phone, but Jeff catches him immediately. He refuses to give the phone back and tells Ryan to go collect firewood instead. The three friends split up, going different directions into the forest. Ryan's out there gathering wood when Dane shows up. Dane's Mark's best friend, and he's decided to scare them by putting on a creepy butcher mask. He jumps out, trying to frighten Ryan, then disappears back into the trees. Spider comes along next and sees the mask lying on the ground. He gets genuinely scared for a moment, thinking something happened. Back at the junkyard, Mark's sitting comfortably in Mech X4's cockpit, watching a game on the screen, just relaxing like he said he would. Then an alert comes through. There's movement at the entrance. Davidge appears, and Mark immediately attacks him. Davidge doesn't even flinch. Mark realizes this guy's not normal, and he starts running, trying to figure out what Davidge actually is. Meanwhile, Ryan and his friends are still in the forest, executing their plan to scare Dane. But suddenly, Harris vanishes. Ryan and Spider go looking for him, but then Spider disappears too. Ryan's calling out, searching, and then he hears screaming. He runs toward the sound and finds Dane. Dane tells him he twisted his ankle and fell down a small incline. Before Ryan can help him, Park Ranger Jeff appears. Ryan explains what happened, tells Jeff that Dane's hurt and needs help, but Jeff doesn't help. Instead, Jeff attacks him. He's captured all three of them. Ryan tries to access his phone, but it switched off completely. Jeff tells him that his job was to handle 3 children. Ryan notices Jeff's radio is still on, still working. He reaches out with his technopath abilities, sending out a loud that disrupts everything. Spider, hearing it, breaks through the rope. Harris finds a light switch and turns on all the lights in the area. Ryan, still connected to the electrical systems, overloads every bulb. They all explode in sequence. In the chaos, the three of them grab their phones and run into the forest. At Mech X4, Mark's still fighting Davidge. The guy is relentless, powerful in ways that don't make sense, but Mark's got the anti-gravity belt they've been testing. When Davidge comes at him, Mark uses the belt to float up, avoiding the attack. Then he uses the anti-gravity device, holding him in place with invisible force. Then Mark grabs his phone and sends Ryan an urgent message about what's happening, about Davidge. But then Davidge breaks free and they fight again. Davidge starts destroying everything around him, equipment, supplies, anything in his path. He's a force of nature. He corners Mark and grabs him, demanding to know how Mech X4 works. Mark refuses to tell him. Instead, he stands there defiant, protecting the robot's secrets, even when his life's in danger. Davidge makes a call. Meanwhile, in the forest, Ryan, Spider, and Harris manage to call the police together, but there's no network. Jeff's still chasing them through the trees. They work together to drop a tent right on top of him. Harris grabs all the cell phones and throws them into the tent. Ryan, using his powers, creates an electrical blast that destroys every phone in there. The explosion is enough to knock Jeff unconscious. Ryan pulls out his own phone and realizes that someone orchestrated all of this. Ryan connects his phone to the nearest cell tower using his abilities, and when the connection comes through, his phone is flooded with messages. Dozens of messages from Mark, who is fighting for his life. The three of them grab their bicycles and race back toward the junkyard. Their hearts are pounding because they don't know what they're going to find. When they finally arrive at the junkyard, they see a massive monster reaches down and grabs Mech X4. Mark's still inside. The monster lifts the entire robot off the ground and carries it away, disappearing into the darkness. In the next episode, Ryan's desperate. The first thing he does is try to access Mech X4's camera system from a distance there. He finds his brother captured by Davidge. Ryan tries to regain control of the robot from outside the junkyard, reaching out with his mind, but nothing works. The robot's out of range. The frustration and anger build inside him, and he makes a promise to himself to bring Mark and the robot. The three of them race to Leo's van, the old converted vehicle where the original creator of Mech X4 left all his secrets. Inside, they find Leo's laptop, and Ryan immediately sees that it's connected to a satellite above the van. If they can use that satellite, they might be able to access the robot's location. But there's a problem. Leo's satellite is weak. Its signal can't reach that far out. They need more coverage. Harris tells them they don't need one satellite. If they can redirect the nearby satellites and point them toward Bay City, they'll have the coverage they need to track Mech X4 and access it. Back where Mark's being held, Davidge drags him inside a tent and leaves him there. Then Principal Gray arrives. She She removes Mark's blindfold, and his entire world shifts. It was her, Gray, the villain he's been fighting. Mark stares at her, trying to understand why his principal would do something like this. Meanwhile, Ryan, Harris, and Spider arrive at the Space Research Organization. They have to get inside. They have to access the satellite control room. They creep around to the back of the building, trying to stay hidden. Ryan approaches the security system and starts hacking the code. Then two guards are heading straight toward them. Spider throws chocolate at them. The guards get distracted. The security door clicks open. All three of them slip inside. But immediately, an alarm sounds. Security personnel start moving throughout the facility. The three friends move quietly, staying in the shadows. Ryan hacks the security cameras from a terminal. They reach the satellite control room and start redirecting every satellite they can toward Bay City. The coordinates align. The signal strengthens. Suddenly, a blinking dot appears. They found Mech X4's location. But then security officers start pouring into the room. In a moment of Ryan kills the lights. And in that darkness, the three friends disappear back in the camp where Mark's being held. Principal Gray stands over him with a cold certainty. She tells that she thought there were just three, but now she knows better also. She got Ryan, and Mark should give up. He should tell her how Mech X4 works, and maybe his suffering will end. Mark laughs because he is confident. He tells her that his brother Ryan is much stronger than her, much stronger than she could ever imagine. If she's so confident, then why did she need to call in that park ranger? Principal Gray's confidence cracks slightly. She brings Mark rotten food, trying to break him down through hunger and degradation. Mark refuses to eat it. He won't be broken that easily. Then she makes him an offer. If Mark tells her how Mech X4 operates, how it works, she'll get him recognition, security, his career, ensure his future. She's trying to tempt him with exactly what a young person wants, but Mark refuses. He won't betray Ryan, so Principal Gray orders Davidge to beat him. Mark fights back, pulling on every bit of his strength, and he manages to jump out of the tent. He's running, hiding in the surrounding area, and then he makes a crucial move. He finds the power cables connecting the research team's equipment. He rips them out. The entire system shuts down. From inside the tent, Mark listens carefully. There's someone above Principal Gray, someone giving her orders. Meanwhile, Ryan, Harris, and Spider have reached the location where Mech X4 is being held. They're moving toward the robot, trying to get inside, when a soldier blocks their path. The soldier's about to say something, about to call for backup, when suddenly the soldier behind him attacks him. The first soldier goes down hard, and then they see who this soldier really is. It's Mark. He's dressed in a stolen military uniform. All the other soldiers move to apprehend them. Davidge arrives and fires a bazooka. The attack is massive, aimed straight at them, but Mech X4 stands up and blocks it, and that's when everyone realizes something incredible. Ryan can control the robot from outside now. The four of them finally get inside the robot together. They're all in one place again. They're reunited. From inside the cockpit, they launch missiles fire from Mech X4, targeting the nearby military camp. Ryan and his friends are shocked. All of these attacks were coming from Principal Gray. They remember how she pushed them to go camping. They remember how she was at the skateboarding competition, watching them, studying them. She's been working her way into their lives. It all connects now. Then a monster appears. A saber-toothed tiger. It attacks immediately, sending a massive fireball toward them. They dodge it, but barely. They grab it with one of the robot's massive arms, holding it tight. But the monster's still dangerous. It breaks free and attacks Davidge. The monster comes back at Mech X4. They load up their plasma punch with full power and launch the final attack. The monster explodes. It's destroyed. Mark's proud of his brother. He tells Ryan something important, as now they know what Ryan's truly capable of. He can control the robot from outside. Ryan heads home, but finds something that makes his blood run cold. Principal Gray is sitting there with his mom. She's calm, telling his mom that Ryan's grades are slipping. Then his mom gets a call from the office. She apologizes to Principal Gray and steps out to take it. And the moment Principal Gray changes completely. She tells Ryan the mega boss she answers to wants to destroy the entire world. She's been fighting against him, but she can't do it alone anymore. She's asking Ryan to help her stop him. She tells him that if he doesn't help, everyone he loves, his mom, his brother, his friends, all of them, will be destroyed. In the 8th episode, Mark becomes incredibly infuriated and starts snapping at Harris, since they've been attempting to build an entire system, and it simply wasn't happening. The pressure had been building up for quite some time. However, Ryan comes in and calmly talks about a very serious situation. He demands everyone to remain silent moment, as he has something important to tell them, and that is to introduce them to Principal Gray, who enters alongside with him. The very first impulse of Mark is to go after her. He attempts to start fighting, yet Principal Gray easily knocks him down, making Mark appear weak instead of strong and fierce. Everybody is now looking at Ryan. Ryan stands his ground and says that they have to trust him in order to reveal an important information that she reveals. Her boss actually wants to cleanse humanity off of this earth. He wants to remove every person he considers evil and keep only the good human. Spider finds Ryan one day and shares his frustration because the boy had gone to the police station to make a report about Principal Gray and everything else that happened. However, police officers only laughed at him since his story seemed absolutely mad. During that night, Principal Gray was wandering around the neighborhood doing some reconnaissance work or just analyzing the situation in general. She suddenly meets Sweeper Morris. It looks like this could become another problem, but actually it turned out to be something different. But Principal Gray knows something Morris doesn't. She knows she's changed her mind. She's helping Ryan now. Immediately, there seem to be soldiers all around her. They are approaching her, circling her from all sides. Principal Gray understands that her boss had arranged for those soldiers to get in between her and any escape routes. She does not run. Instead, she prepares herself for a fight. That's when the four young men approach: Ryan, Harris, Spider, and Mark. They engage with the soldiers in a battle. While Principal Gray attacks the soldiers in a very proficient manner, using the principles of martial art, Ryan uses the gravitational force he has to hold on to the soldiers and throw them away towards him. Mark shows what his real pure fighting skills can do. Spider uses his magnetic belt to control metallic objects near the soldiers, disturbing them. Meanwhile, Harris uses his electric staff to electrify anyone near him. Then, Morris enters the game. He approaches Ryan while holding on to his glove, drawing him towards him with his magnetizing powers. The latter quickly responds to the situation. He reaches out with his technopath abilities and takes control of Morris's glove. He shuts it down, making Morris unconscious. All the other soldiers see their leader go down, see that they're outmatched, and they run. The group takes the magnetic gloves and the phones from Morris. Meanwhile, back inside the Mech X4, Principal Gray has been keeping a secret box. It contains some strange object: Ryan's photograph taken during the skateboarding championship, Ryan's stuffed bear from home, and other personal items. The trophies of her investigation, trophies that prove she's been following Ryan, observing, analyzing him. Ryan takes Morris's mobile phone and applies his skills of a hacker to overcome the security. What he discovers is a continuous call from one number, same number again and again. This person must be the boss. This is the leader calling. Ryan makes an attempt to communicate with the boss. He makes a call pretending to be Morris, using the voice of the agent who was beaten up. Ryan keeps up the communication, while Harris tries his best to trace the call. He finally manages to get what they needed: the location. Ryan's team gets in the Mech X4 and rushes toward the destination. When they get there, they are confronted with an unexpected sight, and there, standing at the forefront, is the hybrid animal, Monkey Crab, created by Principal Gray. The machine stops working right away. Its energy is shut off. Principal Gray is responsible for that. She made sure to sabotage the battery and the systems of the robot. Now, she attacks Ryan straight up, cornering him, convincing him that what her leader is doing is right. She believes that herself, but wants to make Ryan believe it too. By betraying them all and helping the leader, she will regain her power and status. Everything that happened until now was told to the leader by Principal Gray. She revealed all the information that Ryan and his friends had about Mech X4, Ryan's powers, their plans. She betrayed everyone, and the consequences are horrifying for them. "Bring Ryan to me," he tells her. Ryan is infuriated and turns around, attacking Principal Gray with all his force. This happens when Harris performs one last action on his laptop. Mech X4's power comes back online. The robot wakes up. Ryan tells Principal Gray something that makes her realize she's been played. He says he knew she'd betray them. He knew it was coming. That's why he and his friends set up a backup plan. They were ready for this. Spider gets out his phone, takes a snapshot of Principal Gray, and posts it online right away. While the fight with the monster takes place, the snapshot of Principal Gray spreads rapidly all over the social network. Now the entire world knows about her betrayal. In order to combat the monkey crab monster, they invent something new. It is an X weapon, something from science fiction movies. Iron suit-like device. There pops up an X symbol in the middle of Mech X4, and suddenly there's a beam of light coming out of it. The beam is powerful enough to completely destroy the monster. However, this costs a lot of Ryan's strength, who now has none left at all. He exhausted all his power completely, but then they understand that Principal Gray managed to leave them behind. She fled into the darkness, but Ryan spots her again, except now she wears a ninja costume. She's She's ready for one final confrontation. All 4 friends stand together, ready to attack her as one unit. But she's not through yet because she is about to return once again and continue where she left off. Mark steps in between Ryan and her, taking his place. They get into a physical fight where Mark tries to defend himself against her attacks. However, the principal seems to have the upper hand on him. Then, she grabs him by the collar and throws him to the floor. This time, Ryan gets back up and hits her with the force of gravity using his gravity device. She begins to lose her balance and falls. Ryan and his friends rush to help her, but before they could do that, she makes her own decision. She refuses their help and pulls her hand away from theirs. She chooses to go down rather than let herself be caught. Ryan feels the guilt of it wash over him, but Mark puts a hand on his shoulder and tells him something important. Whatever they did was right. She made her choices. They made theirs. This is how it had to end. Much later, when everything is over and done with, Spider and Harris talk about buying some ice cream. Ryan is too weary for that. His body hurts him, and his mind is tired. All he wishes for now is a good sleep. However, while he is sitting here, he realizes that something is wrong. There is a paper on the floor next to his seat, and it had fallen from Principal Gray's private box where she stored all those materials related to surveillance. He picks the paper up and starts reading. It is an official document. Ryan is adopted. In the next episode, he walks to Mark and shows him the certificate and tells him that they're not actually brothers by blood. Mark's reaction is cold. He says they were never brothers. He doesn't need to be part of Ryan's plan anymore. The words hit like a physical blow. Everything's broken. Then Ryan wakes up. It was a dream. He decides something important. He's going to tell his mom and Mark about this. At Bay City High School, Cassie's preparing for an interview. Seth Harper is coming to talk about something big. His company wants to give scholarships to students at the school. Meanwhile, Mark's getting ready for his basketball competition. His team's counting on him, but Ryan's mind is somewhere else entirely. Ryan's anxious about Secret consuming his thoughts. They're in the junkyard testing new weapons and upgrades installed on Mech X4. They want to find out how this particular robot behaves in these circumstances. Everything is going great until Ryan starts drifting away. He starts thinking about Mark and everything that could go wrong. His concentration breaks. Mech X4 stumbles and falls. Harris and Spider think it's a technical glitch, but Ryan knows something's wrong with him, not the machine. Back at the school, Mark's at the basketball court with his coach and teammates. He's talking about how well he's going to play and how his team's going to win. But across town, Ryan's losing focus again. His powers are destabilizing. The lights around him start flickering wildly. Electronics are going haywire. Spider's phone literally catches on fire. The whole school's electrical system is reacting to Ryan's emotional state. Something's seriously wrong. Harris and Spider bring Ryan inside Mech X4 and run a full diagnostic scan. They check everything: his vitals, neural patterns, and physical health. According to the scan, Ryan's completely fine. There's nothing medically wrong with him. Harris tells Ryan that every time he talks about his brother, his powers go haywire. The emotional connection is destabilizing his technopath abilities. Hearing this, Ryan gets frustrated and angry. He tells Harris to leave him alone. Harris's face falls. His best friend just rejected him. He walks away silently. At home, Ryan and Mark are in the house together. Ryan's been bottling everything up, and it comes out all wrong. He tells Mark that he doesn't care about anyone else. He's just focusing on his game and forgetting about the team. Mark's confused by the sudden attack. Then Seth Harper shows up with food. Ryan's mom asked him to keep an eye on the boys while she's away. Seth sits down with Ryan and does something unexpected. He just plays a video game with Ryan. While they're busy, Seth provides him with some life advice. In fact, he advises Ryan to always stay united with his family, his brother, his friends, regardless of how badly he might want to separate from them. The day of Mark's basketball competition arrives. Ryan goes to watch, cheering his brother on. Mark's playing incredibly well. His teammates are supporting him. Everything's clicking. The score's close, and now it's the final moment. One more point could win the game. Mark's got the ball. He's going for it. But at exactly that moment, Ryan's focus breaks. His mind goes to the adoption certificate. His emotions spike. His powers surge wildly. All the lights in the gymnasium start flickering. The electronic scoreboard glitches. The disruption is so strong that Mark loses his concentration. He misses the shot, and the team loses the game. Mark comes off the court devastated. He finds Ryan and tells him exactly what he's thinking. They lost because of him. Ryan sabotaged the competition with his uncontrolled powers. Just then, Harris gets a monster alert. Another creature has appeared, and it's one they've fought before. The hybrid monster is back. Ryan goes to fight it, but his powers are still unstable. He can't control Mech X4 properly. He can't get the robot to respond the way he needs it to. He's stuck. and the monster's getting closer. Finally, Ryan can't hold it in anymore. He shows Mark the adoption certificate right there in the middle of the battle. He's not Mark's real brother. He's adopted. That's why everything's falling apart. Mark stops and looks at the certificate, then at Ryan, and then he laughs. Not a cruel laugh, but a genuine one. He embraces Ryan in an unusually strong hug and tells him that whether they were blood brothers or not, they will always be brothers because there's no biological, only spiritual connection between people. They're brothers for life. That's not something that changes because of a piece of paper. As soon as Ryan hears those words, something shifts inside him. The fear dissolves. His powers stabilize. He feels connected to Mark again. His technopath abilities respond to that emotional anchor. He takes the control of the robot without hesitation, and with perfect coordination, they destroy the monster. After this event, Ryan goes to his mother, showing her all that happened, and even the document proving that he was adopted. She tells him she was always afraid of losing him, afraid that once he found out he was adopted, he'd leave them and go looking for his real family. But Ryan tells her something that makes her understand. He says he's part of their family. They're part of him. He's blessed to have a mother like her and a brother like Mark. His mom goes to a box and pulls out a single page. On it, written in careful handwriting, is just a name, Ryan. She tells him that when they first brought him home as a baby, that page came with him. It was the only thing they had. No other information, just his name. Later, Ryan realizes something incredible. The handwriting looks familiar. It matches the handwriting in Leo's diary. That page came from Leo. Leo, the man who created Mech X4, knew about Ryan before Ryan ever found the robot. Leo chose Ryan for a reason, and now Ryan understands that he has to find Leo. He has to discover who his real parents are and why Leo connected him to Mech X4 in the first place. The answers are waiting somewhere out there. In episode 10, ever since Mark discovered that Ryan was adopted, something changed in him. His protective instinct kicked in, and he started treating Ryan as something delicate, which constantly requires extra care. While such an attitude towards Ryan may seem lovely, in reality, it puts Ryan off. Mark tries to show that the adoption does not make any difference for him, while, on the contrary, Ryan needs something different, that his brother would stop treating him as a delicate flower. Harris and Spider find themselves at the lab, where Mark brings some information. The one is related to an analysis of the paper accompanying Ryan's adoption kit. The fingerprint scan reveals that the fingerprint belongs to Leo Mendel. The name can be found among original files of Mech X4. Hence, the conclusion may be drawn that Leo Mendel created the robot and is its creator. At the moment, somewhere there, he is captured. He is offered meals by his captor and constantly asked about who controls Mech X4. Leo denies knowing anything. He gets thrown into his cell after they take away his meal, but Leo managed to get himself a fork and a spoon, using which he manages to escape. After managing to do so, he realizes that he is at sea somewhere in a prison ship. The trio conducts a study of the background of Leo and discovers that he is an ex-criminal who stole technology from some of the biggest companies out there. Nevertheless, they manage to discover one other interesting piece of information, an address. Harris believes that it is not relevant anymore, but Ryan believes otherwise. Arriving at the place, Ryan notices an invisible door, undetectable to the others present. Ryan's technopathic sense is able to detect electronic signals coming from the door. Going inside, they discover Mech X version 1, the original design of the machine. As they delve further into the building, they find a secret chamber resembling the inner workings of a robot. Once the systems are activated, a computer screen lights up to show an AI. This is Leo's AI. This is the program that has been keeping Leo's secrets safe for many years now. As expected, the AI gets defensive right away. However, when Ryan tells it that he's a technopath, it identifies itself and demands that they leave. Ryan does not listen to this demand. Instead, he asks what is most important for him. The last time the AI saw Leo, it says, was 2 years ago. In other words, Ryan understands this as meaning that Leo might still be alive, and that this AI might know something about this. Ryan asks the AI another question. He asks where Leo's files are located. The answer is quite interesting. Everything here is done as per Leo's instructions, and all data about Ryan are locked in a database. After mentioning this, however, the AI shuts itself down. Mark realizes that the best solution is to copy the files from the AI onto his mobile phone so they can work on them later when they get to the junkyard. While the file transfer begins, the AI wakes up and confronts them. The AI accuses the duo of trying to steal the files from Leo and decides to give them punishment by throwing laser balls. Mark manages to destroy one with the help of a baseball bat, while Ryan programs another and destroys it too. More laser balls continue appearing and separate them all. While one attacks Harris and Spider, the others go after the remaining members. Amid all this chaos, Ryan finds himself confessing to Mark about something that had been troubling him. He explains that Mark's behavior had been strange lately, now that he knows the truth. They are brothers, regardless of any paperwork. An epiphany strikes Mark. He comes to understand that Ryan does not need any privileges, he needs his brother. And Mark, letting go, charges in. He disposes of the leftover laser balls and rescues Harris and Spider. The AI, witnessing this outburst of devotion and affinity, takes a decision to isolate Ryan from the others, initiating a countdown for self-destruction process in case it is necessary to annihilate both itself and Ryan. However, Ryan surprises everyone once again. He speaks to the AI not as its enemy, but rather as an equal. He convinces it that they have a common goal to help Leo. They are not enemies, they are allies, and the AI hears what Ryan has to say, interrupting the self-destruction countdown. At last, the AI explains what is actually going on. It misses Leo more than anyone. This is because, by implanting himself with a receiver chip, Leo connected his mind and brain functions permanently to the AI, allowing it to locate him anywhere within the boundaries of planet Earth. Yet, sending such a signal to Leo requires the total input of the AI, leading to its permanent shutdown. Ryan realizes the sacrifice involved and comes up with another idea, but the AI realizes the importance of tracking down Leo and chooses the importance of rescuing him over the safety of itself. It uses up all the energy left in it to track Leo and send his exact coordinate. As it is sending out the information, the AI starts disintegration. The AI sacrifices itself for saving the creator. Finally, after receiving the information about the coordinates, the team returns to the Mech X4 and plugs in the coordinates in their system, which shows them the destination. The destination leads to just one single place. Leo is found in the deep parts of the ocean, and surprisingly, he is alive and waiting for them to save him. In the next episode, but recently, Harris has been occupied more with personal work rather than working hard to find Leo. Ryan challenges him, questioning why they get sidetracked at a time they should go towards the sea to find the inventor of Mech X4. However, he invented a gadget which makes it possible to regulate the voltage of electric energy in the surrounding. On the other hand, Mark tells everyone that he has also been improving Mech X4. He's added a submarine mode so the robot can survive deep underwater when they go searching for Leo. The three of them head to school, where they meet a girl named Veracity, Harris's academic rival. As Harris was concentrating on his projects rather than focusing on finding Leo, Ryan criticizes him for that. He wonders why they are becoming distracted, since they need to go to the ocean and save the man who invented Mech X4. However, there is a reason why Harris is busy working on his projects. He was given a scholarship at Harper Futuristics. She has an amazing invention herself, the mini black hole. While Ryan and Spider were listening to the discussion of Harris and Veracity about their inventions, they couldn't understand all the scientific aspects, but eventually left them to have further discussion. However, after this, Harris's voltage controller started interacting with Veracity's mini black hole. Ryan and Spider were walking in the corridors when they saw a person dressed as Mech X4. Out of curiosity, they follow the student and come across the Mech X4 fan club. This group wants to reveal all the secrets regarding their favorite robot, and they make different guesses and theories, draw artworks, and design. Spider immediately gets an idea. Why not reveal who the pilots are? But Cassie is there recording everything on her phone, and hearing this instantly sparks her curiosity. She begins to suspect that there may actually be pilots inside Mech X4. They begin to speculate on the theories that arise. Some believe Mech X4 is an alien warrior. Others think it's a government experiment, or the creation of a secret organization. Then Cassie turns her camera toward them and asks a direct question. If there really are pilots, who are they? One of the fan club members responds by saying Ryan has his own theory and volunteers him to speak. Ryan is about to stand up and talk about Mech X4 when Dane suddenly arrives. Mark's best friend and basketball teammate tells everyone to clear out because he and his friends want the space for themselves. The fan club is forced to leave their meeting spot. Ryan and Spider feel terrible. They had just discovered a community of people who genuinely loved Mech X4, and now those fans have lost the place where they gathered. So they decide revenge is necessary. Ryan calls Mark and tells him what happened. He asks Mark to talk to Dane and tell him to leave the fan club alone, but Mark is busy and brushes off the request. So Ryan and Spider come up with their own plan. Late that night, they drive Mech X4 right up to Dane's bedroom window. Using the robot's mechanical arms, they grab Dane's entire bed and start pulling it out through the window. With Dane still in it, Dane completely panics. He's terrified and has no idea what's happening. Then Ryan's voice comes through a speaker. He tells Dane that he's there on behalf of the Mech X4 fan club. If Dane ever bothers them again, there will be consequences. To make sure the message sticks, Spider leaves a small missile beside Dane's bed. It's not armed, but it's threatening enough. After that, they put Dane and his bed back inside and leave. Dane may be traumatized, but there is no doubt in his mind that the message has gotten across. The next day, Dane arrives at school acting like a completely different person. He tells his friends to clear out of the area they've been occupying and gives the space back to the Mech X4 fan club. He wants absolutely nothing to do with the robot or its fans anymore. Meanwhile, Harris and Veracity discover that their inventions are creating a dangerous reaction together. The integration of their works becomes more unstable, and Veracity believes that there will be a tremendous explosion. Harris quickly messages Ryan and tells him that they need help. As Ryan receives the message and begins preparing for departure, Dane steps in first. Still shaken from the previous night, Dane apologizes. He says he didn't realize Ryan was connected to Mech X4 and wants to make peace. Ryan accepts the apology. Then he brings Dane along and places him in a secure location so he can keep an eye on him while dealing with the emergency. Ryan also calls Mark and tells him to meet them with his car. When Mark arrives, everyone is impressed. He has installed a gravitational device into his car and is capable of flying in the sky with it. At the same time, Harris and Veracity bring out their combined project, which is now visibly unstable. Energy crackles around it as it threatens to explode. Ryan arrives in Mech X4 and acts immediately. He grabs the invention, throws it away from the populated area, and destroys it with a missile before anyone can get hurt. During all the chaos, Cassie approaches Ryan and Spider. She has been considering all the information that she has collected on the subject of Mech X4. Before she can push for answers, Ryan takes control of the situation. Mech X4 walks over to the fan club members and takes a giant selfie with them. The fans absolutely love it. Moments later, the robot flies away. In due time, Harris delivers fantastic news. The scholarship that he had at Harper Futuristics has officially been approved, but Ryan suddenly realizes he's forgotten something important. He left Dane locked up in that secure location while handling the emergency and never let him out. Somewhere, Dane is still trapped, wondering when someone is coming back for him. And while all of this is happening, Cassie continues putting the pieces together. She still doesn't have proof, but she's more convinced than ever that Ryan Walker has some connection to Mech X4. In episode 12, Deep Beneath the Ocean, Leo is still being held prisoner. His captor, the mysterious leader, keeps demanding the same thing: who pilots Mech X4? But Leo refuses to talk. He's starving, exhausted, and broken down, but he won't betray Ryan. Meanwhile, Harris receives incredible news about his scholarship. As an official member of Harper Futuristics, he now has access to their satellite systems. Using them, he scans the ocean and finally finds Leo. He's alive and being held in a prison facility deep underwater. But reaching him won't be easy. Harris explains that Mech X4 needs major upgrades if they're going to survive the depth. He develops new equipment for the mission. Mech X bands will be able to help the crew stay in touch, even if they get separated. In addition, Harris builds force field barriers in order to prevent them from being crushed by the enormous pressure at such great depths. Ryan is nervous, as each minute is priceless. Leo's life is on the line, but without the upgrades, the rescue mission would be suicide. Spider heads to Harper Futuristics to help with the upgrades. The moment he arrives, he's amazed. All that he sees around him is the place where he always wanted to visit, where lots of technology and geniuses are creating revolutionary inventions. However, Harris explains to him that now is not the time for sightseeing. They need to accomplish their goal. Then Augie arrives. Being an inventor and one of his friends, Augie and Harris are making a video game. Nevertheless, Harris does not waste much time on talking about it, as now they need to save Ryan. But Spider notices something that bothers him. Harris seems caught between two worlds. On one side are his old friends. On the other is this exciting new life at Harper Futuristics. Spider can't help feeling left behind. He tells Harris that maybe he doesn't need the old crew anymore. Harris responds by turning invisible and effectively telling Spider to leave. Hurt by the rejection, Spider walks away. Back at Mech X4, Ryan and Mark discuss the rescue plan. Without a GPS system installed, they'll be heading into the ocean nearly blind. Harris is supposed to guide them remotely from Harper Futuristics. Mark thinks they should wait until everything is fully prepared. The mission is too dangerous to rush, but Ryan can't wait. Leo has already been trapped down there for 2 years. Every minute feels critical. Thus, without wasting time on unnecessary things, they set off to complete their mission. Descending further, they see a gigantic whale swimming across the dark waters. numbers. Then they discover underwater mines capable of detonating at the slightest mistake. Harris sees the readings and immediately warns them to slow down. He advises them to go slow and warns that he will be scanning the area. As directed, they proceed with caution without triggering anything within the complex. But then their signal cuts out. Complete silence. They can't hear Harris anymore. And suddenly, they're alone in the darkness, surrounded by mines with no guidance. Back at Harper Futuristics, Augie reminds Harris that it's Fun Tuesday, a company tradition where nobody uses electronic devices and everyone takes a break from work. Harris tries to explain that he's doing something important, but Augie insists. If it's important work, they'll do it together. Before long, Harris finds himself stuck doing nerd exercises, stretching, and relaxation activities while desperately trying to get back to his computer. Finally, he fakes a leg injury so he can leave. Once he's alone, he secretly powers up his PC using a personal generator and reconnects with Ryan and Mark. He warns them that they only have 10 minutes before the facility's power runs out completely. Underwater, Mark sees the danger clearly. They are surrounded by all kinds of mines and technology. They tell Ryan that they must go back, but he refuses, saying they have come too far. The darkness consumes the whole complex. The brothers argue, both driven by fear for different reasons. Mark is afraid of dying. Ryan is afraid of losing Leo. In the middle of the argument, they stop paying attention. Mech X4 slams directly into a mine. The explosion is massive. The robot loses power, every light goes dark, and Mech X4 begins sinking toward the ocean floor. Mark reacts quickly and activates the backup power system. The robot comes back online, but only barely. Harris reconnects and tells them the backup power will last no more than 10 minutes. After that, they're stranded. Ryan makes a choice. He's taking the mini submarine down to the prison alone. Before leaving, he takes the Mech X band so he can use it to help Leo when he finds him. When Ryan reaches the prison facility, he immediately destroys the lighting system. Time is running out as they continue advancing towards their target in the prison, while Ryan kills everyone who tries to stop him. Meanwhile, Mark and Harris work together remotely to restore Mech X4's system. Ryan finally gets to Leo's prison cell and releases him from his shackles. However, disaster strikes. The voice of the leader booms across the prison system and wants to know who Ryan is and why he has broken in. Gas pipelines within the prison explode, causing it to enter self-destruction mode. Everything falls apart from the walls and alarms are ringing, with floods of water gushing inside. Ryan doesn't hesitate. He places the Mech X band on Leo so he can survive the environment, then grabs him and runs. Moments later, a massive explosion tears through the prison. The entire facility collapses into the ocean, but Ryan makes it through the chaos to save Leo, and both of them make it out safe and sound. Against all odds, the rescue mission succeeds. Leo is finally free, but Ryan has even bigger news. While hacking into the prison systems, he discovered the identity of the mysterious leader behind everything. It's Seth Harper, Ryan's mom's boyfriend. In the next episode, Leo wakes up coughing and disoriented after being knocked out during the escape. Ryan immediately starts asking questions about Leo and his past, but Leo tells him those answers can wait. There's something far more urgent. Seth Harper possesses a substance called the gel, and according to Leo, it's powerful enough to destroy the entire world. Finding that gel and learning what Seth plans to do with it has to come first. Spider suggests a crazy idea. What if they could hack directly into Seth's brain and access his memories? As crazy as it seems, Leo believes it may just work. To find out more about the substance in the gel, they must access Seth's brain and scan it for memories. Harris is happy to help with building the device, while Ryan will be the one to pilot it. The problem is making sure that Seth does not realize that they have the device on him. Fortunately, Harris has an idea. Harper Futuristics is holding a product launch soon, and there will even be media present. Harris can arrange for their access to the event, after which they simply need to put the device on Seth's head, knock him out, and let Harris pose as him. Harris gets started on acting like Seth, but Leo warns him that Seth is highly particular about some things. If Harris doesn't copy them perfectly, the plan will fail. Leo also builds a remote control for Ryan. It's an emergency exit if something goes wrong inside Seth's mind. The next day, Ryan and Mark head to Harper Futuristics and thank Seth for the VIP passes. Ryan casually informs everyone that Elon Musk will attend the product launch. When Seth goes to talk to other people, that's when he moves in. He places the brain hacking device on Seth's head. Seth collapses instantly. As Seth loses consciousness, Harris takes his place. Dressed like Seth and acting like Seth, he steps into the role while nobody notices the switch. Ryan and Mark carry the unconscious Seth to a hidden room away from the event. Before Ryan enters Seth's mind, Leo contacts him one last time time and delivers a final warning. Staying inside another person's brain for too long can cause serious damage. Ryan can't afford to lose track of time. Leo reviews the remote's warning signals again, making sure Ryan understands exactly what each color mean. And now Ryan activates the device. Now when he opens his eyes, he finds himself not in this reality, but rather in a memory from Seth Harper. Seth is depicted as a young college student with lots of books and technologies around him, and with great ambitions and intelligence. Then Ryan sees something unexpected. Leo is standing right there inside the memory. The two aren't enemies, they're friends. Ryan watches as Seth tells Leo that they're going to change the world together. It is an instant brimming with hope, ambition, and possibilities of two brilliant minds. Unaware of how their lives will diverge in the future, Ryan starts flipping through Seth's memories, looking for something related to the gel. Eventually, he finds one. He sees an older Seth entering a cave and discovering a strange glowing substance, the gel. Seth brings it back to Harper Futuristics and combines it with the core of a monster. The experiment is dangerous, but it works. A giant saber-toothed monster forms from the gel and the core stone. Seth immediately uses technology to knock the creature unconscious and place it under his control. As Ryan continues searching, he sees Seth meeting with Principal Gray. During the memory, Ryan realizes something huge. The main gel supply is hidden beneath Bay City High School. That's where Seth has been storing the most dangerous substance in the world. But before Ryan can process everything, black smoke suddenly surrounds him. It attacks from every direction. Ryan quickly realizes what it is. It's Seth, not his body, but his consciousness. Seth knows Ryan is inside his mind, and now he's fighting back. Seth grabs the remote from Ryan and reminds him that this is his brain. Then, Seth shows his memories to Ryan. He sees pristine forests, immense oceans, and landscapes without any sign of human presence. He tells him his reasons for doing everything he is doing. As far as Seth is concerned, humanity was ruining Earth, and once it was gone, nature would flourish once again. That's the justification behind his plan. Meanwhile, back at the product launch, Spider is still impersonating Seth Harper on stage. He's supposed to be presenting Harper Futuristics' newest product, H. The problem is that he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about, so he starts making things up as he goes. His speech barely makes sense, and his secretary watches in horror as he completely abandons the script. Somehow, though, the audience loves it. Spider's enthusiasm wins them over, and the crowd cheers despite having no idea what he's actually saying. Inside Seth's mind, Ryan refuses to accept Seth's reasoning. He refuses to believe that destroying humanity is the answer. Seth becomes furious. Suddenly, there are multiple versions of Seth attacking Ryan at once. Ryan runs through the landscape of Seth's consciousness, trying to escape. Eventually, he reaches what looks like Seth's laboratory and decides to stop running. He fights back. During the battle, Ryan realizes something important. He isn't just inside Seth's brain, he's inside a system. As a technopath, Ryan can interact with technology in ways nobody else can. He begins using his powers differently. Soon, both Ryan and Seth are flying through the air, battling across Seth's mental landscape. Their consciousnesses clash as Seth throws Ryan backward with tremendous force. Then Seth creates a blazing fire blade from pure imagination and attacks. Ryan fights back long enough to reach the remote. He presses it. The green light immediately turns red, activating the emergency escape sequence. In an instant, Ryan's consciousness is pulled back into his body. He opens his eyes in the real world. The team quickly removes the device from Seth's head. Moments later, one of Seth's assistants congratulates him on giving such a successful presentation. Seth is confused because he was unconscious for most of it, but he hides it well and plays along. Afterward, Ryan gathers his friends and tells them everything he discovered. The main gel supply is hidden beneath Bay City High School. That's where Seth is keeping it. That's where they need to go next. A short time later, Seth casually walks over and thanks them for attending the event. He acts completely normal, asking whether they enjoyed the show. Ryan tells him he looks tired and should get some rest. Seth laughs and wishes them good night. But the moment Ryan and his friends leave, Seth's expression changes. The smile disappears. He pulls out his phone and calls Morris. When Morris answers, Seth speaks in a cold, calculated voice. He finally knows who the pilots of Mech X4 are, and now everything is about to change. Ryan, Harris, and Spider go around all parts of Bay City High School campus trying to locate the gel prison. However, they find nothing. After running some calculations, Harris discovers something quite horrifying. The prison isn't hidden in a small room. It's enormous, 1 mile deep and 3 miles wide. To put that into perspective, he compares it to the monkey crab monster they fought before. If that creature were multiplied 100 times over, it would still barely compare to the size of the prison beneath their school. A weapon of unimaginable power has been sitting directly under them this entire time. The team team makes a decision. Tonight, after everyone leaves and the school is empty, they're going to destroy it. They'll drill down to the gel and neutralize it before Seth can use it. To do that, they'll need better equipment. Leo reveals that he's located the drill gear from Mech X3, the original prototype. The installation will allow them to dig deep enough to access the prison. In the meantime, while preparing the necessary equipment, Leo feels compelled to tell Ryan the answer to his eternal question. I need to tell you who you are. Years ago, Leo needed a technopath, someone who could control machinery with one's brain. In order to achieve this, Leo genetically and mentally modified Ryan's parents. The process didn't work on them, but it worked on their child. Ryan was born with the abilities Leo had been searching for. He was the successful result of Leo's experiment. Ryan then asks the question he's been afraid to ask. Did Leo abandon him? Leo tells him no. He didn't leave Ryan because he didn't care. He left him to protect him. Leo knew that Seth Harper would eventually discover what Ryan was. If Seth found him, he would try to control him and exploit his abilities. So Leo placed Ryan with a family that could love and protect him without ever knowing the truth. Leo admits that he doesn't know what happened to Ryan's biological parent. All he knows is that keeping Ryan hidden was the only way to keep him safe. Meanwhile, Mark is dealing with a different problem. Their mom has become increasingly worried about the danger surrounding Ryan and Mech X4. She wants to stay close and protect her son. Mark knows that's impossible. If Seth discovers the truth, their mother could become a target. So Mark comes up with a plan. He tells her that a friend's food truck will be appearing at a West festival outside the city and convinces her that she's entered a special competition. Excited by the opportunity, she agrees to go and leaves town that very night with her food truck. She has no idea that Mark intentionally sent her away. It's a small lie, but a necessary one. With their mom safely out of the city, Ryan and the others can focus entirely on stopping Seth without worrying about her becoming a hostage or getting caught in the middle of the battle. On the other hand, Seth meets Morris and unveils the next step in his plan. That is, Seth will merge with the insect monster, turning into one entity. Morris informs him that tonight is the night the kids will come to the school to destroy the gel. That's when they'll make their move. Seth then gives Morris modified chameleon DNA, which will be used to create an insect monster capable of turning invisible. At 4 in the morning, Mech X4 arrives at Bay City High School. The campus is completely empty. Ryan, Harris, Spider, and Mark begin drilling into the ground, trying to reach the gel prison hidden beneath the school. However, when they arrive at the location, an enormous insect monster attacks them. It destroys the antidote that was to be used against the gel. The monster immediately becomes invisible, making it impossible to battle against. It hits and vanishes without leaving enough time for any reaction. The group starts feeling worn out due to the continuous attack. Eventually, they come up with a solution. They activate thermal imaging and track the monster through its heat signature. Once they locate it, they drive the drill directly into its stomach and destroy it. But Ryan soon realizes the monster was never Seth's real plan. It was only a distraction. While they were fighting, reporters and news crews arrived at the school. Cameras begin broadcasting everything live. Seth has turned the entire situation into a media event. Then he gives the order to fire missiles. The missiles don't hit the monster. Instead, they strike the school and Mech X4's position. The resulting explosion destroys Bay City High School. From the perspective of everyone watching, it looks like Mech X4 caused the destruction. In an instant, everything changes. The robot that once saved the city is now being blamed for destroying a school. Seth Harper publicly turns against Mech X4 and tells the world that the robot is a dangerous threat. He promises to rebuild the school, protect the city, and make things right. Suddenly, Seth is the hero. Ryan and his friends are the villain. The group returns home devastated. They watch the news and see themselves being blamed for the disaster. Seth is being praised while their reputation collapses. Then Mark's phone rings. It's his mom calling from the festival. She's confused and wants to know what's happening. Before Mark can answer, Seth takes the phone. In a cold voice, he reveals that he knows everything. He knows Ryan's entered his mind. He knows the truth about Mech X4. The group sits in stunned silence. Seth has completely outplayed them. Public opinion has turned against them. He knows who they are, and worst of all, he has Ryan's mom. Realizing they have no other option, they decide to confront him directly. They take Mech X4 and head for Seth's headquarters. But as soon as they arrive, missiles begin raining down on them, not from Seth, but from the United States military. Seth contacts them and calmly explains that the government now sees Mech X4 as a national security threat because of the destruction of the school. The military demands they surrender the robot immediately or face destruction. Ryan and his friends know they can't fight an entire military force. Outmatched and outnumbered, outnumbered, they have no choice but to retreat and Seth win. Later, Seth meets with Morris and reveals the final stage of his plan. The military will eventually destroy Mech X4. Ryan's mother, who is afraid and defenseless, will seek help from Seth. Having full power over the people close to Ryan, he can finally reach his main purpose. He intends to wipe out humanity, eliminate what he sees as the evil of the human race, and rebuild the world according to his own vision. And from Seth's perspective, there's nobody left who can stop him. In the next scene, military fighter jets are everywhere. Missiles keep coming. Mech X4 activates its invisibility mode and disappears from the sky. The military loses visual lock but keeps firing blindly. Ryan asks Leo where he is, and Harris tells him Leo is on his way with Mech X3. Leo's bringing the original robot to help them fight, but Ryan wants to save his mom right now. He can't let her stay with Seth any longer. Mark and Harris convince him it's not possible. If they try to rescue her while the military is hunting them, they'll all get captured. The only way forward is to split up. Mark and Harris will infiltrate Seth's building invisibly and get Ryan's mom out. Ryan and Spider will stay with Mech X4 and repair the damaged systems. Ryan agrees reluctantly, knowing his brother is right. Meanwhile, Seth has Ryan's mom in a secure location. He's explaining his vision to her. He wants to destroy the world. He's been creating all the monsters and orchestrating everything. He wants to purge humanity and rebuild Earth in its natural state. Ryan's mom realizes what he is and tries to escape. But Seth injects her with something, and she collapses unconscious. She's his hostage. Back at Mech X4, Ryan and Spider are working on repairs when a missile gets lodged inside the robot. They're trying to figure out what to do when Leo arrives with critical information. He tells Ryan this missile has no electronic component. It's purely mechanical. Ryan can't control it with his technopath powers. If he makes a mistake, the entire robot will explode. They must be very careful. Right now, Mark and Harris have managed to turn on their invisibility devices and get inside Seth's building. They're walking through the halls unseen, but Mark is nervous. He pulls Harris aside and reminds him that this is real life and dangerous. If something goes wrong, Mark can't save both his mom and Harris. Harris needs to stay focused. Harris nods, understanding the weight of what they're about to do. Seth has another plan working in the background. He goes to the military and shows them a special missile. This one has no electronic components or circuits. As soon as it hits Mech X4, Ryan won't be able to control or deflect it. The military leadership rejects the idea. They don't want a billionaire CEO telling them how to conduct military operations. Seth leaves the missile there anyway, confident it'll be useful. Ryan and Spider are carefully removing the mechanical missile from Mech X4's interior. They're being slow and precise, but then Spider makes a mistake. He bumps the missile, and it starts falling. Both of them immediately grab it and throw it out of the robot before it can detonate inside. The missile explodes outside, and the blast is powerful enough to disable Mech X4's invisibility mode. The cloak shuts down. They're visible. The military gets a lock on them immediately. Everything falls apart simultaneously. Mark and Harris are running through the corridors of Seth's building when soldiers find them. There's a fight. They're outnumbered and get captured. They're dragged away by military personnel. Back in Mech X4, the power is failing. The main systems are shutting down. Leo tells Ryan that the power supply is completely down. Ryan breaks. All the pressure, fear, and guilt crash down on him. Ryan feels like a failure. He can't save his mom, his friends, or even keep the robot operational. He doesn't really have a choice because it is not just his mother who's counting on him, but everyone else around the world too. He senses something happening inside himself and begins performing his task. He climbs out of the robot and stands atop Mech X4. At the bottom, missiles are firing from the military forces, and one after another, Ryan uses his technopathic skills to blow them up right when they come flying at the target. Below, Leo is struggling to get the power supply back to normal while Spider assists him. Spider suggests using tape to reconnect the circuits, but Leo doesn't want to risk it. He reconnects the circuits himself, but when he completes the final connection, a massive electrical blast throws him backward. Leo is badly hurt, but the power comes back online. Mech X4 awakens. Ryan immediately takes control of the robot and catches the mechanical missile that Seth left behind. He destroys it. He's beaten the odds, but when Ryan comes down, he sees Leo's condition. The electrical blast caused serious damage. Leo is badly burned and exhausted, resting in a medical bed, but there's no time to focus on that. Mark and Harris are still in danger. Mark and Harris are being held prisoner inside a military facility. Looking around, they discover a massive monster's heart. Morris comes in and takes their bag and supplies. Mark and Harris look at each other and distract the military long enough to escape from the place. But Harris understands that this is impossible and that they will not be able to leave this place without a fight. Therefore, he decides to use the dangerous gel, which can turn humans into monsters. He asks Mark for the antidote, but first he needs to use this new power. He walks through the military facility, defeating every soldier in his path. He breaks through every barrier until he finally reaches Ryan's mom. The military detects a giant monster in the city and launches evacuation procedures. Amid the chaos, once they're safe, Mark gives Harris the antidote. During the chaos, they finally see the truth. Inside the monster is Seth Harper. The whole time, Seth was inside the monster. He's been behind everything all along. In the episode 16, civilians are evacuating the area in panic. Seth stands there in his monster form and gives them one final ultimatum. Give him Ryan's mom, and this ends. Ryan and his friends refuse. The mecha blaster is fired, launching streams of energy beams and heat waves against the beast, but nothing happens. The attacks hit Seth and dissipate. Seth is too powerful now. Seth gives them one more chance. Let him have Ryan's mom and he'll stop. Then he retreats, confident that he's won. Ryan's mom comes out of the restroom, confused about what's happening. Ryan sits down with her and tells her everything. He's a technopath. He controls machines with his mind and uses Mech X4 to save people and stop monsters. He explains that Seth Harper is creating the monsters and that the world is about to end unless they stop him. He also brought Harris and Spider into the danger. His mom is angry that Ryan and Mark never told her the truth. She feels betrayed, but then she tells Ryan she's proud of him for trying to save people. Suddenly, her expression changes. She attacks Mark and tries to run away. Ryan scans her and realizes the truth. Seth infected her. He's controlling Ryan's mom through a chemical injection. Seth's voice comes through, explaining that the chemical makes her brain respond only to his command. She'll do whatever he tells her to do. Meanwhile, Seth batters Mech X4 with brutal attack. The robot is taking severe damage. Leo sees the situation is hopeless and activates an emergency escape protocol. Mech X4 retreats to regroup, but they can't give up. They come up with another plan to rescue Ryan's mother and end Seth's reign of terror forever. Ryan uses his gravity device to fly through the air and intercepts Cassie during the chaos. She's recording everything and caught in the danger zone. Ryan saves her by flying her to safety. Mark uses his flying car again, spinning the vehicle around Seth's monster's legs. The monster crashes to the ground, but Mark's car is damaged and falls from the sky. Meanwhile, Spider is back at the school wearing his magnetic belt. His job is to distract Seth and keep him focused on something other than the Doomsday button. Seth leaves his monster form and returns to his company building. Morris is waiting for him with something small but terrifying, a button that will destroy the entire world. Seth takes it, confident Ryan can't stop him, but then Ryan arrives with remotely controlled drones. He attacks Seth with laser fire, and during the chaos, the button falls from Seth's hands. Ryan's mom picks up the button. She's still under Seth's control. Ryan pleads with her to give him the button. He tells her that if she presses it, the whole world dies. He reminds her that he's her son, but Seth's voice cuts through, telling her to listen to him instead. Seth knows Ryan would never attack his own mother. He's betting everything on Ryan's love for her. Ryan makes a choice. He throws aside his electric drones and runs to his mom. Looking her in the eyes, he tells her she's his real mom in every way that matters. She chose him, fought for him, and gave him a family when he had none. He loves her, and he's not going to let anyone take that away. The truth breaks through Seth's control. Ryan's mom comes back to herself and attacks Seth, breaking free from his influence. Ryan grabs the button, and Seth immediately activates his own detonation sequence. A missile launches carrying the monster's core. Its destination is the underground gel beneath Bay City High School. Once it arrives, the core will activate all the gels and create a monster far bigger than anything they've faced before. Ryan calls out to Mech X4, and it answers right away. He climbs inside and heads for the school, hoping to stop the rocket. The monster follows him, but Ryan's friends use missiles to blind it and cause it to fall to the ground. Ryan heads after the rocket as the countdown continues. He reaches out with Mech X4 and catches it midair, but Seth attacks at the same moment. The collision redirects the missile straight into Seth's monster form. The explosion is massive. Seth and the monster are destroyed. The threat has been taken care of. Then, when everything is over, Ryan's mother wakes up without any recollection of her actions while controlled by Seth. She doesn't know she attacked Mark or tried to push the Doomsday button. Ryan and his friends lie about it all, protecting their mother. On the other hand, Cassie tells everyone the truth about Mech X4 saving the city and Seth Harper being behind the monster's appearance. They are looking for Seth's body and proof of his plan. Ryan stands with his friend, thinking about how enemies they once were, but together they saved the entire world. Now they understand how much more powerful they are as a group than alone. Any threat that comes in their way will be met with them united as one. As the episode closes, the camera focuses on the remains of Seth's monster slime. A hand emerges, and yeah, Seth is alive. First of all, thank you homies for completing season 1. And your responses were great, but I ran out of cash. Anyways, next season 2, the final one, is about to begin, so be ready, hold your popcorn, and yeah, let's go. In Season 2, Episode 1, we see the upgraded Mech X4 cuts across the forest with a mission to destroy a monster. But this time, the team has attached the cold cannon module. As a massive yellow insectoid creature charges, Ryan fires the new weapon. The blast freezes the monster solid before shattering it into pieces. The fight is over in seconds. For the first time in a long while, everything feels manageable. Then the news breaks. Seth Harper is dead at 29. There's no celebration, only relief. The shadow hanging over Ryan and his friends finally lifts. Mark breaks the silence. We're transferring schools tomorrow. East Bay City High School is supposed to be a fresh start. New school, new people, a chance to be normal teenagers. But the students already know the rumors about the troublemakers from Bay City High, the school that was destroyed. Nobody wants them there. Ryan realizes he's spent so long fighting monsters that he's forgotten how to be a normal person. This time he starts small with his technopath skills, fixing broken phones, recharging dead laptops, and working on tech projects. It may not be much, but at least it helps. He's not the dangerous kid anymore. He's the one who helps. Then a confident student approaches him with a request. Mark asks Ryan to steal some chips from the hallway vending machine for himself and his buddies. Since Ryan understands that he is being tested, he agrees to his request, but on his terms. He simply approaches the vending machine and, using his powers, unlocks the machine and takes out the chips and gives them to him. Moments later, new principal intercepts them. Harsh-faced and cold, she spots Spider with the gum and confiscates it without listening to his explanation. One look at Ryan's group makes it clear he's already judged them. Later, Harris meets Veracity in the library. She mentions that she is working as an ethical hacker and can see all cameras across their old school. Ryan sees military vehicles removing containers of slime from the school's basement, Harris tells Ryan, and they decide to follow the shipment that night. Back at school, tension boils over. The bully confronts Mark over something petty, and the argument quickly escalates. Ryan steps in to stop the fight, but neither side backs down. Before it turns violent, Principal arrives and blames Mark instead of the bully. He sends the entire group to detention. In detention, Mark confronts Ryan and says that you should have had my back. Ryan argues the fight wasn't worth it, but Mark sees it as betrayal. The detention supervisor is distracted by her phone while Ryan's mind is on the slime investigation. Using his technopath abilities, he makes her watch sparks, so she leaves to get it fixed, leaving detention unsupervised. That night, the team takes Mech X4 to a military checkpoint. They spot the slime truck suddenly breaking away from the convoy and heading toward the old industrial district. Without warning, the truck swerves off the road and accelerates. Ryan realizes the driver is escaping Ryan and the others search. Then an impossible figure emerges. It's Principal Gray. She's alive and her body begins transforming into a monster. Looking at Ryan, she explains this happened because she fell into the slime tanks during the crash. There is no panic in her voice. She attacks immediately. Ryan fights back, but nothing works. Mark rushes in to help but is instantly overpowered. Principal Gray grabs him and hurls him across the warehouse. With military trucks approaching, she loads the slime containers and flees into the night. Ryan gets up Mark, knowing very well that it is just the beginning. In the next episode, Ryan and Mark video call their dad. He's in Tanzania, where the hospital project is going well. After that, he promises he's finally coming home. Ryan and Mark smile. After the call, the brothers prank their mom again in order to protect her. They text her about a fake food festival downtown. She happily leaves for it, and the moment she's gone, they decide to fix what's wrong right now. Then suddenly, Ryan gets a vision. He sees Principal Gray underwater and a massive mutated shark swimming. The vision ends, leaving Ryan shaken. He immediately goes to school and tells Harris and Spider together. After hearing the vision, Harris starts connecting the pieces. What if fragments of the monster they destroyed in the last season ended up in the ocean? If the slime contaminated marine life, it could have created a monster shark. If there's a monster shark out there, they need to upgrade Mech X4 for underwater combat. Harris contacts Leo for help. Harris explains the plan. The required upgrades will need special metals and submarine parts, available only within Harper Futuristic. Harris and Leo will collect submarine parts from an abandoned military dumping ground, while Ryan, Mark, and Spider break into the Harper facility. Then, Leo leads Harris through a submarine graveyard filled with rusting military vessels. He knows of a hidden storage area containing the parts they need. An officer quickly confronts them. Harris first claims they're tourists taking selfies, then switches to pretending they're inspectors from the National Submarine Administration. The officer clearly doesn't believe either story. Then the officer looks after their bag and finds a drone. The drone then attacks the surrounding officers, throwing the area into chaos. While everyone is distracted, Harris and Leo grab the submarine parts and escape. Meanwhile, Ryan, Mark, and Spider infiltrate Harper Futuristic. They reach the underground vault exactly where Harris predicted. Inside are CPUs, encrypted files, submarine components, and specialized metals. While searching, Ryan notices one encrypted file stored separately. It contains his parents' names. Believing it may reveal the truth about them, he takes it to decrypt later using Mech X4. Before they can leave, Morris storms into the vault with armed guards, and he wants revenge on Ryan and his team. So, Ryan immediately fires with a near laser system to hold them back. As Ryan covers them, Spider rushes to secure the CPU containing Ryan's parents' file, while Mark fights off the remaining guards. During the struggle, Spider loses his grip, sending the CPU flying toward a massive industrial fan. But Ryan quickly grabs onto it before it is destroyed completely. Mark got rid of the CPU belonging to the guards, but it was not destroyed. With the alarm ringing all around them, they escape with both the parts and the encrypted file just in time before the police arrive. On their way back out, Ryan regains his sight. Mech X4 now has its upgraded underwater version and is coupled to a submarine made by Leo. They dive into the ocean, where they find a large amount of corrupted energy using the radar. The heart of the monster still lives below the water. Then, the mutated shark emerges. It's stronger than anything they expected. The creature attacks with incredible speed, badly damaging both Mech X4 and the submarine. They eventually destroy it. Back at base, Harris carefully examines the damaged CPU and tells Ryan that the CPU is fine, but will take time to decrypt. Ryan nods, but the visions keep bothering him. They don't feel random anymore. Someone seems to be guiding him, showing him future threats before they happen. The scene shifts. Principal Gray emerges from the water carrying the monster's core. Standing beside her is someone impossible, Seth Harper. The man everyone believed was dead is alive. Even worse, he's been the one sending Ryan those visions all along. Now in the next episode opens by returning to the final moments of Season 1. Ryan and his friends stand victorious over Seth Harper's monster form. Seth transforms back into a human and tries to escape. But before he reaches safety, Principal Gray intercepts him. No longer fully human, she overpowers him and drags him into the darkness. Now Seth hangs inside a containment chamber, while Principal Gray forces him to make a slime serum that can change humans without changing the DNA. Then we see her watching Ryan and his friends. Meanwhile, Mark competes in the final basketball tryouts at East Bay City High. He's faster, smoother, and more accurate than ever. Every shot is right on target, and the coach instantly gives him a spot on the team. What no one knows is that Ryan had implanted magnets that work against the force of gravity within Mark's shoes. For the entire duration of the tryouts, Ryan was controlling the magnets remotely using his technopathic powers to aid Mark. Back at the base, Harris starts working on the encrypted CPU that contains the information regarding Ryan's parents. To decrypt this, he tells Ryan, "I'll need some serious software, not just the standard stuff." The following day, we see the school kitchen where Principal Gray comes in and adds the slime serum to the chocolate mixture. On the other side, Harris pulls Mark aside. "You need to give up the gravity device." He explains the truth behind the sneakers. Every impressive move during tryouts came from Ryan's technology. Mark is devastated. The team didn't choose him. They chose Ryan's enhancements. Meanwhile, Harris and Spider discuss how to decrypt the CPU. They need more computing power, specifically Veracity's iPad. Harris releases a drone and snatches it before she realizes. Veracity then confronts them. Spider promptly fibs and says that the encrypted CPU has Harris's personal information and that he does not know the password. They require the help of Veracity, who possesses such skills, to decrypt it. Pleased by the task, Veracity accepts and takes both the iPad and the CPU. Later, Mark meets his team and tells them that he is leaving. The team is shocked, but Mark simply says he has responsibilities he can't ignore before walking away. The bully guy in the team wants to beat the hell out of Mark, but suddenly chaos erupts across the school. Students who ate cafeteria cupcakes suddenly become violent, attacking everyone around them. Spider and Harris are quickly surrounded. Mark knocks one infected student into an industrial freezer, instantly stopping his violent behavior. Ryan immediately realizes the cupcakes were contaminated with slime. Instead of creating monsters, the slime is turning students into mindless attackers. Here, Harris and Spider and Veracity struggle to escape. Then Harris and Veracity use his motherboard, the iPad, and other components and build a code blaster capable of disrupting the slime's effects. They fire it, stunning the infected students long enough for Spider to escape. The team regroups and begins herding infected students into the courtyard. Mark tells Harris to check the freezer. The student inside has completely recovered. Extreme cold neutralizes the slime. With a cure finally discovered, Ryan calls in Mech X4 while Harris scales up the cold code blaster. The weapon freezes every infected student, stopping the infection and curing them all. The following morning, Veracity returns the CPU and says that she didn't look at your personal data. She only decrypted it. Back in Robo, Mark quietly places the gravity-enhanced sneakers. Ryan insists he was only trying to help. Mark disagrees. He knows that they have bigger problems than basketball and they need to focus on what's really important. Soon after, Harris finally decrypts part of the CPU. A list of names appears. People connected to the slime experiments. Ryan's parents are on it. They weren't random victims. Elsewhere, Principal Gray confronts Seth about why the serum was weak enough to get destroyed by low temperature. The Seth nervously asks why you are breaking this. Gray replies that she is making it for someone else. In episode 4, Ryan spreads the decrypted list across Leo's workbench. Looking through the names connected to the slime experiments, he asks which one belongs to his father. Leo looks at the file before pointing to Randall Anthony, but the records reveal something even bigger. Randall Anthony changed his identity years ago. His new name is Tony, and he's been living in Colombia. Before Ryan can process it, he suddenly sees Seth Harper standing right in front of him. Seth should be dead, yet somehow he's there. Later at school, Ryan arrives looking exhausted and admits he keeps seeing Seth Harper everywhere. Harris and Spider assume it's stress, but Ryan insists the visions are real. Then, Ryan tries to clear his mind by skateboarding around campus while showing off for a girl. Just as he's landing tricks, Seth appears again in his peripheral vision. Ryan loses focus and barely avoids crashing. Ryan immediately asks Harris to scan him. Despite the lack of any signs of physical or neurological damage, the tests indicate strange neural activity triggered by some outside stimulus. It is evident that Ryan isn't hallucinating. Seth really exists, and somebody transmits his hallucinations into Ryan's head. Harris realizes that Seth could be alive and brings the neurosplicer that will allow Ryan to establish the connection between Seth's and his minds directly. Ryan activates it, and his mind reaches Seth. Seth tells Ryan that Principal Gray is holding him prisoner inside a secret facility. She's forcing him to create an entirely new monster. Seth begs Ryan to rescue him and gives him the location, Clawton Ridge. Inside that facility, Principal Gray injects another dose of Seth's chemical into a grotesque hybrid creature. The experiment grows stronger with every injection. Ryan gathers Mark, Harris, and Spider, and the team heads to Clawton Ridge in Mech X4. As soon as they arrive, Principal Gray transforms into her monster form. Harris immediately fires the antidote weapon, forcing her back into human form. True to his word, Seth was locked in there, and now Ryan releases him, and Seth instantly provides him with all of his fortune, which amounts to $1.5 billion. Before they can escape, the hybrid monster attacks. The team jumps back into Mech X4 and destroys it with the blaster. When the battle ends, Principal Gray has disappeared. Safely aboard Mech X4, Ryan confronts Seth. He reveals that Seth has been following him since childhood and decides to erase all of Seth's memories using the neurosplicer. Seth refuses, then calmly tells Ryan the truth. "You don't understand, Ryan. We're the same, and you've become the greatest test subject I've ever created." Ryan says that I'm nothing like you. Seth only smiles. He pulls out a hidden remote and presses a button. Instantly, unbearable pain floods Ryan's mind. Artificial hallucinations overwhelm him. Ryan collapses screaming while Seth watches, then Seth walks away, leaving Ryan broken on the floor. The next episode opens with a flashback. Randall dashes through the streets at night holding baby Ryan as he is chased by the unknown organization. Arriving at the house of Leo, he leaves Ryan in his care, asking him to take good care of him and not tell him anything about his dad. and then Randall disappears in the darkness, giving up his life along with his son just to let Ryan live. At present, Leo makes a call to Ryan with some information. He has finally found Randall. Ryan's father is alive, working at an illegal mining operation hidden deep inside the mountains. The unstable mine is close to collapsing, trapping everyone inside. Leo also reveals that he will install a satellite security system to protect Ryan's mother's house, and then he proudly shows Mark's old car he restored. The team arrives at the mountain in Mech X4 with Harris's spider robot. Using Mech X4's drill system, they tunnel into the mine while Ryan enters alone. He first repairs the damaged lift with his technopath abilities, before searching deeper underground, where he finally comes face to face with his father. Ryan explains to Randall that they have to get going immediately, but Randall does not want to leave the trapped miners behind. Trying to save everyone, Ryan operates the gravity device to remove huge rocks blocking the tunnels. Meanwhile, Mark helps Leo install the satellite system at Ryan's mother's house. During the work, Mark asks if Leo can make him a technopath as well. Leo gives him the same answer, but Mark insists he needs powers because Ryan can't keep carrying everything alone. He wants to help fight Seth Harper, stop Principal Gray, and protect everyone instead of standing on the sidelines. Back inside the mine, Ryan gathers all the trapped miners onto the lift before finally revealing the truth to Randall. "My name is Ryan. I'm your son. Your son came to save you." Randall is overwhelmed, but before they can talk further, they discover the damaged lift won't move. Above ground, Harris's spider robot detects the problem, destroys the blockage, then physically lifts the entire platform out of the mountain. The trapped miners finally reach safety. Outside, Ryan shows Randall Mech X4 and explains that it's how he protects people. Randall proudly tells Ryan how incredible he's become, but says he can't stay. His co-workers still need him. After embracing his son, Randall leaves once again. Back in Mark's house, Mark's mother sees the satellite installation Mark quickly lies, claiming it's a free community service project. She accepts the explanation, but asks them to remove all the sports and movie channels because Mark's grades have been slipping. As soon as she walks away, Leo prepares to secretly restore every channel, but before he can, every light in the neighborhood suddenly goes out. At the same moment, Mark receives an urgent message from Ryan asking him to come immediately. When Ryan arrives, the entire neighborhood is without power. It isn't a blackout, it was caused deliberately. Then we see Randall standing in the darkness, holding the gravity devices. In episode 6, a citywide blackout leaves every building without power except Veracity's house. After realizing that the attack was not accidental, the team divides. Ryan and Mark investigate the power plant while Harris and Spider head to Veracity's house. Instead of finding answers, Harris and Spider discover a huge house party. Veracity quickly explains that the party started outside, but when the blackout hit, everyone crowded into her house because it was the only place with electricity. She's terrified her father will find out. While talking, Harris notices a locked case and tries to inspect it, but Veracity stops him. He offers her a deal. If he and Spider clear the house, she'll show them what's inside. She agrees. Spider uses a unique method to clear the party. He brings an old man, then he causes disturbances in the DJ's music, such that it gets too uncomfortable for everyone to stay around. Within minutes, the guests leave, and the house is finally empty. Ryan and Mark investigate and find red serum and a big hole in the power plant. Here, with everyone gone, Veracity opens the case to reveal a potato. Confused, Harris listens as she explains it's part of her wireless electricity project, using modified potato batteries and the Earth's magnetic field to generate power. If perfected, it could power an entire house for weeks without an external source. Harris admits he doesn't fully understand the science, but he knows it's impressive. Before they can continue, a giant mutated mosquito appears and begins draining electricity directly from Veracity's house. Ryan arrives in Mech X4 and immediately attacks, but the creature pierces the robot's armor and starts draining its power as well. Mech X4 rapidly shuts down, and before Ryan can recover, the mosquito flies away after receiving a command from Principal Gray. Then Harris and Spider go away with Veracity's project and give it to Leo, so that Leo could use it in powering the robot. Harris, Spider, and Ryan regroup inside the powerless Mech X4. After analyzing the situation, Harris realizes where the mosquito is headed, their old high school. The team reaches the abandoned school and finds the mosquito transferring all the stolen electricity into a massive generator, while Principal Gray watches watches nearby. As Ryan and the others move in to stop her, the generator overloads and explodes. From the blast emerges a massive humanoid creature that introduces himself as Traeger. Realizing Principal Gray has created an entirely new living weapon, Leo quickly modifies Mech X4 using Veracity's wireless power technology, restoring enough energy for one more fight. Ryan attacks Traeger, but the monster easily grabs hold of Mech X4's leg and throws him all the way across the schoolyard, after which he escapes. Ryan, Harris, and Spider drive Veracity back home and assure her that they will assist in cleaning the mess that was created during the party. Traeger is now standing next to Principal Gray. In episode 7, Harris is busy in the laboratory developing a new combat drone, which will have the ability to detect and destroy its target on its own. It's also packed with nanoparticles that disperse if the drone is destroyed, allowing them to take control of nearby electronic systems. Confident in his invention, Harris sends a fleet of drones into the city, with one mission is to find Traeger. Then Ryan and Mark got a message from their mom as she is calling them, and when they arrived there, their father is back home and wants to spend an entire week with his sons at the Future Expo. He surprises them with tickets, hoping they can finally spend time together. Although they know Harris and Spider are still tracking Traeger, Ryan and Mark decide not to miss this chance with their father. The Future Expo is packed with cutting-edge technology. Ryan loves the VR exhibits and the futuristic inventions and 3D printers, but keeps checking his mobile phone for messages from Harris and finally decides to put it away since it's his time to be with his dad. Ryan also runs into Veracity, who has her own booth despite finishing 6th in the competition. She proudly demonstrates her inventions, including a handheld device capable of disabling electronic systems, and introduces Ryan to her robo-dog named Little Harris. While exploring a VR game, Mark meets a girl named Georgia. The two quickly hit it off, and later their dad invites Ryan to experience another VR simulation together, giving father and son a rare chance to bond. Meanwhile, Harris and Spider stay inside Mech X4 monitoring the city. Spider asks why Harris skipped the expo, and Harris says every invention he creates now goes toward upgrading Mech X4. Suddenly, the scanners detect Traeger at Bay City Airport with Principal Gray. Wanting Ryan to enjoy his day with his dad, Harris and Spider decide to investigate alone. Back at the expo, Mark spots one of Harris's drones flying overhead and immediately alerts Ryan. Ryan destroys it without hesitation, but doing so releases its nanoparticles into the expo's electrical network. Instead of continuing to track Traeger, every infected electronic device locks onto the drone's last registered target and suddenly turns hostile. Ryan assumes it's just a malfunction while their dad quietly watches his son once again put everyone else's safety before his own. At Bay City Airport, Harris and Spider quietly follow Traeger and Principal Gray through the terminal. As Traeger walks past, Harris secretly plants a tracking chip on him. The plan succeeds, but Harris badly broke his hand. Back at the expo, the nanoparticles hijack Veracity's inventions, turning her own creations against her and destroying months of work. As she's cornered, Mark remembers the electronic disruption device Veracity gave him earlier. He throws it to her, and she activates it, releasing an electromagnetic pulse that shuts down every hostile device around her. Veracity is saved, but her inventions are ruined. With the danger over, Mark catches up with Georgia, and the two exchange phone numbers without another interruption. Later, Ryan's dad finds Ryan after hearing the expo had gone into lockdown. He checks if Ryan is alright, and the conversation clears away the tension between them. Both realize they're on the same side, and Ryan's dad reassures Ryan that he'll always support him. Before heading home, Ryan meets Harris and the others. While bandaging his injured hand, Harris reveals he successfully planted a tracking chip on Traeger. Now they can follow him whenever the time is right. Elsewhere, Seth Harper works alone inside a hidden laboratory surrounded by advanced technology. The code fills his computer screen while an enormous robotic hand reacts flawlessly to all his commands, and there are no controls at all. In next episode, Traeger flies toward a secret government military facility filled with advanced weapons and experimental technology. Inside Mech X4, Leo and Harris analyze Traeger's biology and discover he's made of red slime. They reveal a modified blaster that instantly disintegrates red slime on contact, meaning Traeger can actually be killed. Leo then explains they need to upgrade Mech X4 to reach him, and for that he is going outside to get those materials. When Leo's outside, unbeknownst to them, someone has been secretly following Leo. Using the tracking chip Harris planted earlier on Traeger, the team arrives at the military facility. The lower levels are filled with injured and unconscious soldiers, proving Traeger has already torn through the base while destroying the very weapons meant to stop creatures like him. Harris suggests splitting into two groups to search faster, but Traeger finds Ryan and Mark first, and the other members of his team are quick to follow suit, firing their blasters as well. The attack partially dissolves Traeger's body, forcing him to retreat. Instead of escaping, Traeger transforms into a gigantic monster far larger and stronger than his humanoid form, before charging straight back at them. The team retreats through the facility while Ryan rips apart the main power cable, shutting down the base's electrical systems. It makes no difference. Traeger keeps coming. The team barely reaches Mech X4 before Traeger attacks again. And with that, Ryan hurls all manner of military missiles at him, causing gigantic explosions. Instead, Traeger walks out of the smoke almost unharmed and smashes into Mech X4 with overwhelming force. Armor cracks, systems begin failing, and despite fighting back, Ryan and Mark can't stop him. After badly damaging the robot, Traeger suddenly retreats deeper into the facility. Back at base, Harris is in rough shape with a dislocated shoulder and a badly twisted ankle. Even though he clearly needs rest, he refuses to stop and instead contacts Veracity, asking her to join the team and help Ryan pilot Mech X4. She arrives and is amazed after seeing the robot's technology for the first time, immediately realizing why Harris has dedicated all his inventions to it. At that same moment, the mysterious man who has been following Leo finally kidnaps him. Standing beside the stranger is Randall, Ryan's father. Furious with Leo, Randall reveals that Leo once experimented on him and 29 others, merging their bodies with technology. Those experiments left them permanently allergic to technology. Now, being near electronics slowly kills them. The stranger blames Leo for turning them into living weapons, accusing him of sacrificing innocent people. Leo realizes the consequences of his past have finally caught up with him. In 9th episode, Veracity undergoes virtual combat simulations to test her abilities in battle. Her team battles simulated Traegers while rehearsing tactics and cooperation. Later, Ryan takes Veracity aside and explains that Mech X4 will work successfully when everybody fights as a team, not individually. Having been living all her life independently on her intellect and inventions, Veracity comes to understand that she needs to learn how to cooperate with others. All of a sudden, Harris informs the team about the discovery. He has discovered Traeger and Principal Gray somewhere in the Arctic Ocean, but to get there will not be easy since Mech X4 cannot fly by itself. He suggests modifying a fighter jet and installing it on the robot so it could make it to the Arctic. Sometime later, Spider catches up with Veracity at school and inspires her, saying that she is doing everything right. She confesses that she is used to working independently and having trouble cooperating, but Ryan's words to the team inspire her to improve. Then, the team begins testing the new flight upgrade. Harris pilots the modified fighter jet as it connects to Mech X4, while Ryan takes control of the combined machine. At first, everything works perfectly, but the rear exhaust of jet suddenly explodes. Toxic gas fills the cockpit, oxygen levels drop, and Harris begins suffocating. Ryan refuses to crash the aircraft into Bay City, even if it means sacrificing Mech X4 in the ocean. Before things get worse, Mark puts a breathing mask for Harris, rescuing him and pulling him back into Mech X4 before he loses consciousness. The crisis isn't over. The damaged fuel system causes the combined machine to accelerate uncontrollably toward Bay City. Realizing they need to reduce its weight, Mark gives Veracity the gravity shoes and sends her to one side of Mech X4 while he takes the other. Working in tandem, they open the fuel lines and empty out the tanks. As the fuel drains out of the tanks, the robot eventually slows down enough to enable Ryan to land safely, thus saving the city and his teammates. Harris and Mark assess the damage and come to the conclusion that the explosion was caused due to a corroded gas pipe that had not been replaced. Rather than dwelling on the failure, they decide to repair everything after taking a short break together by watching a 4D movie. Meanwhile, in the enormous laboratory, buried underneath the icy Arctic, Principal Gray and Traeger set about preparing for the last step of their plot. They put a giant monster's heart into a containment vessel, which is submerged in the slime. In episode 10, before leaving for the Arctic, everyone makes excuses to their families. Harris tells his sister he'll be gone for a week and asks her to tell their parents he's attending a summer tech camp. Veracity says she asked her best friend to look after her apartment and make it seem like she's still home. Mark tells his mom he's attending a week-long gaming convention with friends from the Tech Expo, while Ryan claims he's leaving for an Academy Bowl competition. Ryan's mom isn't convinced. She quietly tells him she knows he's lying, but assumes he's secretly planning her birthday gift like he and Mark always did. Ryan remembers arguing with Mark over her birthday presents as kids, then thinks back to last year when he gave her a locket but never had time to place family photos inside it. Even with the empty frames, she wore it anyway. Ryan promises that once everything is over, they'll come home and give her the best birthday dinner she's ever had. She hugs him, believing that promise even if she doesn't believe his excuse. Mark and Spider arrive at Mech X4's base suited up for the mission, laughing at Spider's business-like outfit. Ryan then reveals he bought his mom a new locket, this time with photos of both him and Mark already inside. It's more than a birthday gift. It's his promise that they'll return home. With nothing left to prepare, the team launches Mech X4 toward the Arctic. As soon as they arrive, Traeger senses Mech X4 and immediately transforms into his full monster form. Ryan fights back with his upgraded abilities and knocks Traeger toward the surrounding slime pools. As soon as he is about to fall, he finds a monster heart of gigantic size under the slime and absorbs it, making himself much stronger. Thanks to the monster heart, he takes out the power core from Mech X4's chest and stops the robot working and climbs into him. Right after that, Harris shoots with the blaster, making Traeger step back and give some time to the rest of the team. Knowing that it's pointless to try fighting, Ryan tells all of them to get out from Mech X4 through the emergency exit. As he gives Mark the locket for their mother, he sends him and other members of the team far away with his technopath powers. Ryan fights with Traeger using any of his weapons in order to keep him distracted while his friends will be able to escape. Being angry with the way how Ryan sacrifices himself for his friends, Traeger becomes even more powerful and, using his strength, tears apart the robot, which has been carrying the team through all battles until now. In episode 11, the Arctic is silent as Mark, Harris, Spider, and Veracity stand beside the wreckage of Mech X4. Ryan isn't responding, and with the robot torn completely in half, they have no idea whether he's alive. Suddenly, a massive mechanical saber-toothed dragon descends from the sky. Seth Harper steps out alive, revealing he secretly survived in the Arctic all this time while building a hidden base. Mark says that he will try to help, adding that he also intends to beat Principal Gray. Though everyone doubts him, Mark decides to believe him because Ryan is more important than everything else. Seth leads the team to his secret location, where he tells them that they should start working together. Harris and Veracity examine the damages caused to Mech X4, concluding that the robot has been split into two halves. With Ryan's signal being gone, it means that he is probably either trapped or unconscious in one of the halves. They are divided into teams of searchers. Veracity and Spider look at the bottom half, and Seth, Harris, and Mark examine the top half. Seth finds Ryan's location with the help of internal sensors. Ryan goes around the broken robot, suffering from the consequences of Seth's neural assault. Confused about the difference between reality and illusions, he thinks that Mark is Traeger and tries to attack him. Ryan is restrained by Harris. However, his mind remains broken as he sees multiple versions of everybody. Mark desperately tries to calm him, but Ryan can't recognize his own brother. Seth quickly realizes the neural damage is still affecting Ryan and explains that the only way to save him is to connect him to Mech X4's central mainframe and completely reboot his nervous system. In no time, Harris connects the robot's power cables again, so that the reboot would be successful. On the other hand, Spider is attacked by a corrupt Arctic wolf when he is searching the bottom half of Mech X4. Just as he's about to be overwhelmed, Harris finishes reconnecting the systems, restoring power to the lower section, and forcing the wolf to retreat. Back at the center of the robot, Ryan continues resisting until Mark pulls out the birthday locket Ryan bought for their mom. Seeing the photo inside finally breaks through the hallucinations. Mark and Seth quickly bring Ryan to Mech X4's core, connect him to the mainframe, and begin the reboot. This process will send electric currents through Ryan's body, which will repair the damaged neural pathways and will release him from Seth's mind control. Exhausted but fully conscious, Ryan is finally himself again. Mark tells Ryan that Seth is now helping them. Seth explains he's been secretly building replacement parts and upgrades for Mech X4 ever since arriving in the Arctic. Then, he takes Ryan to his workshop and introduces him to an enormous robotic hand that reacts to the pilot's mind. The two agree to work together. Ryan will stop Traeger, and Seth will get his revenge on Principal Gray. Elsewhere, Leo continues working inside a hidden medical facility on a cure for the victims of his past experiments. After perfecting the formula, he injects it into an unconscious woman suffering from the technology-induced illness. The treatment works. She wakes up completely cured. The woman is Randall's wife, Ryan's biological mother. She's alive, but Ryan has no idea she's been found. In the next episode, Seth proudly shows Ryan the rebuilt Mech X4. With its new armor, reinforced systems, and upgraded joints, he renames it as Harper X. According to Seth, its punches are now 3 times stronger, its speed has doubled, and its durability has increased 4-fold. But despite the upgrades, there's still a problem. The control system isn't stable, and Seth admits only Leo knows the original programming well enough to fix it. Not long after, Ryan receives a call from Leo, who directs him to a remote snowy facility. There, Ryan reunites with Randall and discovers 30 people suffering from the same technology-induced illness caused by Leo's old experiments. Among them are Lincoln, the group's determined leader, Brandy, one of the youngest and sickest victims, and also Ryan's biological mother too, barely able to stay conscious. Lincoln begs Ryan to save them, believing he's their only hope. Ryan starts with Brandy, using his technopath abilities to reprogram the technology inside her body. The treatment works, but the effort drains him so badly that he nearly collapses. Meanwhile, back in the city, Mark realizes he's been neglecting Georgia because of the mission. Harris, Spider, and Veracity decide to help by delivering flowers to her house and telling her they're from Mark. Unfortunately, Harris also tries sending a romantic message with a drone, but it malfunctions and garbles the transmission into something that sounds more like a threat than an apology. Confused, Georgia immediately calls Mark, demanding to know why she received a message about destroying all systems, leaving Mark completely baffled. Back at the facility, Ryan gathers enough strength to heal his biological mother. He finally opens his eyes, but Leo realizes Ryan is pushing himself far beyond his limits. Before Ryan can recover, Lincoln insists he continue treating the remaining 28 victims. Leo refuses, warning that if Ryan keeps using his powers at this rate, he'll permanently damage his body or even fall into a coma. Despite the warning, Ryan heals another patient, leaving himself even weaker. Seeing what it's doing to him, Brandy helps Leo and Ryan to move out, but they got caught, and then the leader and other thinks that he's trying to abandon them. They surround him, ready to stop him by force. Before the situation turns violent, Randall steps in and calms everyone down. He reminds them that Leo and Ryan are trying to save lives, not run away. Another one of Leo's ex-colleagues backs him up, and Lincoln finally gives in and lets Leo continue. Mark, meanwhile, meets Georgia in person and honestly apologizes for what he did. He says he was doing things which he cannot even explain to anyone, but this did not make any difference from the way he felt for her. Georgia tells him that she was not upset because of being busy, but because of not understanding why he did all that. Ryan spends some time alone with his biological mother before leaving. He promises he'll finish the mission first and then come back to save every remaining patient. Randall embraces his son while Leo silently watches. Ryan and Leo head back toward the Bay City, knowing the final battle is close. Ryan is physically exhausted after healing multiple victims, but his determination is stronger than ever. Elsewhere, Principal Gray arrives at a massive chemical plant, takes some of the stuff she wanted to, and leaves from there like she wasn't there. She attacks the scientists and destroys the equipment. In episode 13, a giant monster emerges from the Arctic darkness, forcing the team into another battle. As Mech X4 prepares to fire, Leo and Seth start arguing inside the cockpit over how to fight it. Both try overriding each other's commands, causing glitches throughout the system. These systems cease working, the rocket firing process is interrupted, and the broken rocket does not fire. Seizing this moment, the monster snatches Mech X4, tosses it on the ice, and goes back into the shadows. Comprehending that the real threat is not the monster, but the pilots themselves, Ryan convinces Leo and Seth to forget about the quarrel and cooperate. With some difficulty, they shake hands and put all their previous problems behind, deciding to fight as a team. At home, Ryan and Mark's mother have something to tell them. A famous chef has invited her to audition for a prestigious restaurant, and if she succeeds, the whole family will move to Miami. Ryan, Mark, Harris, and Spider quickly realize what that means. Without Ryan and Mark nearby, Mech X4 would lose its only experienced pilots. Desperate, the brothers decide to secretly sabotage the audition. At the restaurant, Ryan silently starts manipulating the kitchen with his technopathic skills, so the stove and the timer do not work properly. Meanwhile, Mark keeps calling their mother to keep her busy. It looks like everything is going according to plan until they hear her speaking with the chef about her long-time dream of being a professional chef. They stop interfering, let her finish cooking, and she earns the job on her own. Meanwhile, Harris, Spider, and Veracity investigate the government facility where Principal Gray stole the mutated plant. While searching the lab, a corrupted plant creature attacks Veracity. Without thinking twice, Spider sprays himself with an experimental chemical he finds nearby. The chemical temporarily helps him to destroy the creature and save Veracity. Back in the robot, Leo discovers Seth is no longer confined. Seth admits he secretly embedded failsafe codes into Mech X4 during its upgrades, allowing him to free himself whenever he wanted. Rather than hiding it, Seth openly tells Leo the truth and once again asks him to work together against Traeger. This time around, Leo agrees readily, and they finally restore their partnership. After they have made it through the audition, Mark and Ryan's mother inquires why they abruptly ceased to try to sabotage her. Coming to the realization that he cannot lie to her anymore, Ryan tells her everything. Ryan explains his technopath powers and even showcases them. Later, Harris arrives at Robot carrying a sample of the mutated plant recovered from the government facility. He explains that Principal Gray and Traeger are moving it somewhere for a larger plan. After examining the sample, Seth realizes she's preparing something far more dangerous than anything they've faced before. In the next episode, Ryan brings his mom inside Mech X4 for the first time. As the giant robot lifts into the sky, she watches in amazement while Ryan effortlessly pilots it across the landscape. For the first time, she truly understands the world her son has been living in. Back at the base, Harris, Spider, Veracity, and Leo gather to test the upgraded Mech X4 blaster. Ryan channels his technopath abilities into the weapon, but the power overwhelms him. The blast fires successfully, but the backlash burns a deep X-shaped mark across his chest. Horrified, his mom wants to rush him to a hospital, but Leo refuses, knowing too many questions would be asked. Instead, he treats Ryan himself and explains that while the blaster is powerful enough to stop Traeger, every use puts Ryan's life at risk. Just then, Seth walks in. Still haunted by everything Seth did to her, Ryan's mom immediately punches him hard enough to knock him unconscious. Mark quickly steps in, reminding his mom that as much as they hate Seth, he's the only person who truly understands Traeger and can help them win. Their mom gets angry and forces them to pack their bags. As preparations begin for the family's move to Miami, Ryan's mom pleads with Ryan and Mark to leave the fighting behind. She tells them protecting the city should be the military's job, not her son's. Wanting to ease her fears, Ryan hands her a flash drive containing everything they know about the monsters and the conspiracy. He asks her to give it to the military and promises that once they do, they won't use Mech X4 anymore. She accepts the drive and promises they'll never have to fight again. That promise lasts only a few hours. Traeger suddenly attacks Base City, transforming into his giant monster form and tearing through the streets. The military throws everything they have at him, but nothing works. A commander quickly realizes only Mech X4 has any chance of stopping him. Ryan's mom rushes to military headquarters with the flash drive, hoping the information can help. Instead, the commander tells her they don't need files or explanations. They need Mech X4. At that moment, she realizes her sons really are humanity's last hope. Before she can react, Traeger spots her and charges straight toward her. Frozen in fear, she watches the monster close in until Mech X4 suddenly crashes between them. Ryan breaks his promise, rescues his mother, and shields her from Traeger's attack. Looking inside the cockpit, Ryan's mother understands the reality at last. She comes to terms that her sons aren't running away from danger, but rather shielding all the others from it. Sobbing, she bids her sons go to save the town and give them her unconditional support. Working as a team, Ryan and Mark destroy the villain gradually. Finally, Ryan pours all his energy into the enhanced blaster. No matter how much it hurts him, Ryan manages to discharge the weapon. The shot goes through the body of Traeger, breaking apart the red substance that keeps him alive until he finally dies. After defeating Traeger, the celebration begins in the city. The army announces its victory, and Ryan's family makes up their minds to stay in Base City rather than move to Miami. Then, the two embark on their mission of of hunting down Seth Harper. He saved the city from destruction, but there is still much more to account for. On reaching the place, they find Seth gone and only a message thanking Ryan for becoming an extraordinary person and saying that they would meet sometime in the future. This particular episode ends with an attack in a rainy street on a single police officer who, when lightning reveals the scene, finds out that Traeger is not dead but injured beyond repair and trying to survive. In the next episode, we learn that for the very first time after months, they finally get to have some rest. They spend their free time playing a board game in Mech X4's base. Leo asserts that he cannot be beaten, while Ryan slowly takes the lead and frustrates Leo in doing so. At the same time, Spider suffers from a severe cold and can't stop sneezing all the time. But the fun stops when they find out about the bomb planted under the table. Ryan immediately tries to disable it with his technopath abilities, but realizes it's completely mechanical, leaving him unable to control it. Leo tells Mark to cut the blue wire, only for Mark to point out there isn't one. Realizing the bomb has no electronics, Mark comes up with another idea. He and Ryan freeze the bomb, locking its mechanical parts in place before it can explode. With the danger over, an even bigger question remains. Who planted it? Security footage has been deliberately deleted, meaning someone entered Mech X4 without leaving a trace. Since there are no outside suspects, the team begins questioning each other. Mark explains he was upgrading the engine before borrowing a needle from Leo. Leo starts asking Mark why engine repair needed a needle. Being ashamed, Mark explains that he had been sewing cosplay to impress his girlfriend. They check his workstation, find the embroidery supplies, and clear him. Spider explains is next. He was sick the entire time, searching through files for something that might help his fever while Harris stayed with him. Harris confirms he never left, clearing Spider and Harris as well. Ryan then admits he spent time at the control panel practicing his technopath abilities. Leo points out that after shutting off the base's power, the control panel somehow stayed active. Being surprised, Ryan confesses that he had not put a bomb there, but had been cheating during the game. He implanted a chip in the dice and hid it in Spider's room. They check the dice and find out the chip, proving Ryan's words right. That leaves Leo. He insists he'd never sabotage the robot he built, claiming he spent the day repainting his chair. The fresh paint proves his story, but while searching his room, everyone discovers detailed blueprints for the exact same bomb hidden under the table. Even Leo is stunned, insisting he's never seen them before. Before anyone can react, Leo runs to the control panels and shows that he is carrying advanced weapon and shows that these weapons are not electric and he's saved for this day. Then he attacks without warning, restraining the team and leaving the robot. Later, Ryan sits with Harris and desperately asks why his friend would do this. Harris is just as confused as Ryan, and then we see something strange in Harris' eyes. That's when the horrifying truth becomes clear. Traeger isn't dead. He survived and also controlled Harris's mind. Through Harris, Traeger planted the bomb, erased the security footage, and even put the bomb blueprints in Leo's room to frame him. Traeger has been using him like a puppet the entire time. In episode 16, the truth finally comes out. During last season's battles, Harris drank contaminated slime. It stayed dormant inside his body until Traeger survived the final battle. Using the slime as a bridge, Traeger slowly invaded Harris's mind and took control without anyone noticing. Looking back, everything makes sense. Harris unknowingly helped Principal Gray escape during Seth's rescue, sabotaged the fighter jet test, and caused several missions to fail. Traeger's only goal was simple: eliminate Ryan. At school, Ryan and Spider notice Harris acting strangely. Calling himself Harris 2.0, he behaves overly cheerful and friendly, beating the hell out of bullies and maxing his aura. Later, Harris approaches Mark and reminds him how popular he used to be at his old school, and suddenly Principal arrives with a video, showing him a video of Mark dancing. The principal sees the performance and asks Mark to coach the school's dance team for an upcoming competition. Although surprised the video was uploaded by Harris, Mark decides to accept the opportunity. Meanwhile, Spider finally gets the boxing match he wanted, after provoking a popular influencer online. Unfortunately, one of his jokes about the boxer's mother turns the friendly match into a real fight. Thankfully, Spider uses a gravity belt to throw the boxer off balance and survives the match while secretly learning valuable fighting techniques from his opponent. Elsewhere, Veracity confronts Harris in the computer lab. she accuses him of hiding something. But before she can continue, she reveals that Harris secretly completed her dream college application without ever telling her. She admits she wanted her to have a future beyond monsters and battles because she deserved a normal life. Touched by his kindness, Veracity hugs him, realizing her friend is a good person, and she goes away. Then Harris calls Ryan with urgent news. He's finally located Principal Gray deep inside a jungle when Ryan arrives. Instead of finding Principal Gray, he finds Harris. His movements are unnatural, and he suddenly attacks Ryan from behind. Ryan narrowly escapes using his gravity shoes before Mark, Spider, and Veracity arrive. Veracity then reveals she hacked security footage, proving Harris planted the bomb inside Mech X4 and somehow crossed impossible distances throughout the base. The evidence leaves no doubt that Harris has been the saboteur all along. Realizing his cover is blown, Traeger stops pretending. Harris's body convulses as the hidden slime erupts, allowing Traeger to take complete control. He transforms into a human monster form and attacks without hesitation. Then Harris turns on Spider, but Spider uses the boxing techniques he learned earlier to dodge every attack. Before the fight, he tosses Veracity a pair of gravity gloves. She puts them on and unleashes a barrage of gravity-powered punches that finally overwhelm Harris. He collapses unconscious, and the team immediately restrains him with heavy chains. Although he's still their friend, they can't risk letting Traeger control him again. Elsewhere, Seth Harper reviews footage of Spider's boxing match. Just then, Morris appears and infected Seth with Red Blossom, and we find out that Morris has also been under the control of Traeger and took him to Traeger. In the next episode, Traeger is barely holding himself, and when he sees Seth Harper, he immediately absorbs his energy, restoring his body to full strength. Morris questions why Seth is so important, and Traeger finally reveals the truth. He was created from Seth's DNA and the slime after Seth's defeat in Season 1. Traeger was born out of Seth's rage and hate, and not just linked to Seth. He is essentially Seth's own living creation. At Mech X4, Ryan and the group attempt to save Harris through a delicate operation that would remove the corrupting slime from his brain. Once Ryan extracts it, Veracity analyzes the sample and discovers Traeger has evolved the slime. Their old antidote is useless now, and the only way to create a new cure is by obtaining a rare enzyme from a hospital. Until they find a cure, Harris is kept restrained inside Mech X4. In a quiet whisper, Ryan reminds Mark that Harris is still their friend, yet emotion can't cloud their judgment because their mission will come undone if Harris gets away. Sadly, Traeger takes advantage of Harris's vulnerable mind to influence Mark. Speaking through Harris, he tells Mark that Ryan secretly said he wasn't his real brother and only saw him as a burden. Knowing that's Mark's biggest insecurity, the lie hits exactly where it hurts. Mark begins distancing himself, believing Ryan may actually feel that way. Soon after, Ryan's mom finds Harris chained up. Seeing her son's friend restrained, she feels sorry for him. Harris calmly lies, claiming the team is overreacting, and asks her to press the release button. Wanting to help, she unknowingly frees him, and Harris escapes. Meanwhile, Ryan, Spider, and Veracity disguise themselves as medical students and sneak into a hospital to steal the enzyme needed for Harris's cure. Their cover is almost blown when a doctor questions them and asks Veracity to diagnose a patient. Caught off guard, she freezes. Thinking quickly, Spider questions the patient directly about what he eat and figures out the illness from patient diet, as he eat the same can food Spider used to eat. So Spider connects with his problem and confidently recommends treatment, and also asking for the enzyme as part of their research. Somehow, the doctor agrees, and they leave with what they came for. At the same time, Mark secretly tracks Harris using a GPS. Before he can reach Ryan, Morris captures him. Instead of killing Mark, Seth decides to use him as bait, chaining him inside a speeding car aimed straight at a mountain cliff. The moment Ryan secures the enzyme, he realizes Mark is missing. Mech X4 launches immediately and reaches the cliff just before the car crashes, catching it in midair and safely pulling Mark out. Shaken but alive, Mark reveals that Seth, Morris, Traeger, and Harris are planning to escape to Brazil and rebuild their plans there. Ryan's relief instantly turns into anger. Thinking Mark's error had led to Harris escaping, he kicks Mark off the team, saying he can't trust him anymore. Then Mark removes the team band and walks away. The next episode moves 18 months earlier, where Ryan is fixing his skateboard in the garage when his mom introduces him to Harris, the new tutor hired to help him with algebra. Their first meeting is awkward, but over the following, the lessons turn into friendship. Harris's awkward personality and Ryan's sense of humor click, and the two become inseparable. When Mark throws a big party, he tells Ryan not to bring Harris because he doesn't fit in. Rather than leave his new friend behind, Ryan insists Harris come with him. At the party, Mark and Dane decide to embarrass Ryan by throwing eggs at him, but Harris tries to protect him and gets one hits Harris square in the face, and everyone laughs while he's left humiliated. Ryan immediately takes him to the hospital, apologizing for everything. There they meet Spider, who's recovering from a broken bone. Ryan and Harris stay with him, and that day, the three outsiders become best friends. In current scenes, Ryan and Mark barely speak after their argument. An emergency alert suddenly reports unusual activity in Brazil. Ryan asks Mark to come with him, but Mark refuses, blaming Ryan for everything that's happened. Left with no choice, Ryan heads out alone. Veracity explains what they've uncovered. Seth Harper has secretly built greenhouses around the world before his plan to destroy the world, which was destroyed by Mech X4. And after his plan, he wants to grow food, but Traeger is now using these houses to spread mysterious red blossom flowers. In order to launch his real plan, to grow flowers with his slime and spread around the world and control every human. Then Mech X4 arrives in Brazil, and Veracity gives Ryan enzyme darts designed to temporarily weaken Harris. While Veracity and Spider keep Morris occupied, Ryan confronts Harris and lands a direct hit with one of the darts. For a moment, Harris's monster form starts breaking down, but he simply laughs. Traeger's power has evolved beyond their antidote, forcing Ryan to retreat. Spider and Veracity manage to capture Morris and they go back to the robot, but Harris suddenly appears in front of the robot. Ryan has the perfect chance to end everything. One attack would kill Harris and finally stop Traeger, but he can't do it. Memories of their friendship flood back, which makes Ryan freezes, unable to kill the person who once stood beside him. Harris suddenly transforms into a gigantic shark-like monster, completely consumed by Traeger. The creature slams into Mech X4 with incredible force, sending the robot crashing through the jungle. Ryan barely regains control before escaping with the rest of the team. Back at base, Veracity doesn't hide her disappointment. She tells Ryan that next time he may have to choose between saving Harris and saving the world. As the reflects on another defeat, they come outside and suddenly sees the red blossoms infecting all the people around them. And everyone have a same mission, and that is to eliminate Ryan. In the next episode, the city has fallen into chaos as the red blossom infection spreads everywhere. Ryan, Spider, and Veracity move through the streets using invisibility technology, carefully avoiding the infected. Then Ryan receives a panicked call from his mom. A crowd of infected people has surrounded a food truck and she needs help immediately. Using their camouflage, Ryan, Spider, and Veracity slip through the mob and quietly move to Robot without exposing themselves. At the same time, Mark with his car spots his mom in danger. Without hesitation, he drives her away from infected crowd and gets her out safely. The infection soon reaches the military. Every infected soldier receives the same command, and that is to eliminate Ryan Walker. Then missiles are launched at Mech X4 from every direction, but Ryan expertly destroys them one by one before they can reach the robot. Moments later, Mark drives up beside Mech X4 and tells Ryan that mom is safe, and both apologizes for everything that happened between them. As they assess the situation, they discover the military's attack has destroyed the ferry terminal that served as the hidden entrance to Mech X4's base. With their headquarters gone and the city completely compromised, Ryan realizes there's nowhere left to hide. He leads everyone to a remote refuge where his biological parents and the surviving refugees have been living. The area is surrounded by a rare natural ore that blocks radio waves, cellular signals, and electronic communication. Inside this dead zone, Traeger can't transmit his mind control signals, making it one of the few safe places left on Earth. While the others settle in, Ryan introduces his adoptive mother to his biological mother. The awkward meeting quickly turns warm as they begin sharing childhood stories and old photos of Ryan, bonding over the son they both love. Outside the sanctuary, Spider meets two uninfected children sitting alone. So he asks them about the GTA 6, and they say that due to others, we can't play these stuff. Listening this, he takes them outside, and Spider buys them pizza and takes them to an arcade, giving them a brief chance to feel like normal kids again. But then their peace is interrupted when Traeger's shark monster arrives and begins spreading more red blossom flowers throughout the area. Realizing the danger, Spider immediately calls Veracity, who alerts Ryan. Ryan and Mark rush there and help Spider fighting with the infected people, and then Ryan use arcade game and give electric shock to the people, enough to make them unconscious and safely bring back Spider and kids. After the battle, Veracity reveals she's finally completed the device she has been building. It stores Ryan's excess technopath energy instead of letting it go to waste, effectively turning him into a living power source. More importantly, the device allows Ryan to broadcast his healing ability instead of curing people one at a time. Ryan activates the device and his body is flooded with technopath energy. Using this, he helps every infected person and make them normal. Many people regain their abilities in an instant. Now Ryan can see every news detail easily and finds out that the next attack is one London dot. In episode 19, London is already falling as the Red Blossom infection spreads across the city. With Veracity's battery device still active, Ryan feels stronger than ever. The stored technopath energy has massively increased his power. Without wasting a second, he uses Plasma Axe and slices off both of the monster's arms. He follows it with one devastating punch that shatters the creature completely. After that, they found Principal Gray's body there. Watching this, Traeger explodes with rage, and without hesitation, he orders Harris to head to Shanghai and spread the infection there while he buys himself more time. When the team examines the destroyed monster, they make a horrifying discovery. Principal Gray's body is fused inside it. Veracity's scan confirms there's no brain activity left. Gray hadn't been controlling the monster, she had become part of it. Killing the monster also killed her. Ryan realizes the terrifying truth. The monsters aren't just weapons, they're prisons. If Harris fully becomes the Shark monster, the only way to save him is to rescue him from inside before destroying the monster. Soon another alert arrives. Harris has begun transforming in Shanghai. The team flies Mech X4 to Shanghai, where a massive shark-like monster has already emerged. Before the battle begins, Mark volunteers to enter the creature himself and save Harris from the inside. Ryan warns him it's almost certain death, but Mark refuses to back down, knowing Harris would do the same for him. Using Mech X4's escape pod, Ryan launches Mark straight at the monster. Inside the monster, Mark doesn't fight. Instead, he talks to Harris, reminding him of everything that made them friends, and slowly, Harris begins fighting back against Traeger's control. When Harris finally recognizes Mark and speaks his name, Mark seizes the opportunity and fires an enzyme antidote which causes the slime breaks apart, and Harris finally returns to normal. Then the team desperately tries to revive Harris, but nothing works. Then Ryan steps forward. He uses this power and put an electric shock into Harris's chest that restarts his heart. Harris suddenly gasps back to life. Smiling with relief, Classic Harris is back. Veracity scans Ryan and discovers that Ryan only have 50% technopath abilities left in order to fight Traeger. Meanwhile, Traeger meets with Seth Harper in a hidden facility. Seth points out that both of Traeger's champions have fallen and asks what he plans to do next. Traeger calmly reveals his final move. Since Mech X4 can stop him on Earth, he'll simply leave Earth behind. He plans to travel into space, seize control of the satellites, and use them as broadcasting towers to spread the Red Blossom infection across the entire planet. Now let's move on to episode 21, the final episode of the series. For those who don't know, most platforms only released up to episode 20. Episode 21 was aired only once on TV, and after a lot of searching, I finally managed to find it. Since it's a TV recording, the quality is a bit lower, but you'll still be able to understand the ending. Ryan is no longer just piloting Mech X4. He's completely connected to it. His technopath abilities have evolved so much that he can control every system with his mind. He doesn't even need to sit in the cockpit anymore. Realizing what this means, the team heads to Traeger's final base. But when they arrive, it's empty. Before they can investigate further, emergency alerts begin flooding in. Egypt, America, Africa, and South America are all under attack at the exact same time. Veracity quickly realizes the truth. The attacks are being coordinated from space. Their suspicions are confirmed when Traeger has taken over the Harper space station. Inside the station, Traeger proudly watches the infection spread across Earth. Nearly half the planet is already covered by the red blossoms. Here, Traeger tells Seth that he will soon control the entire world, and none of this would have happened without brother Seth. On the other side, Ryan comes up with one final plan. Since Mech X4 has life support systems and his powers are stronger than ever, they can use the robot to reach orbit. The boosters ignite, and Mech X4 launches into space. After docking with the Harper space station, Ryan hacks into its security system while the team searches for the main power core. Their plan is simple: install their strongest blaster into the station's core and overload it with enough energy to destroy Traeger once and for all. Before they reach the core, Seth Harper blocks their path. Seth says that he is on their side, and he don't want to take a part in Traeger plan. Seeing Seth's genuine regret, Ryan accepts him into the team and places his Mech X4 band on Seth's wrist. Seth then reveals another problem. The power core is protected by 6 magnetic security locks that only he can open. While he stays behind to unlock them one by one, Ryan and the others rush toward the core and install the blaster. Just as they're about to escape, Traeger discovers Seth's betrayal and attacks. Harris fires the plasma blaster to hold him back, but Traeger overpowers him with a single punch. The team rescues Seth and runs for the exit, believing everything is ready. But Ryan suddenly discovers the worst possible news. The blasters are gone. Traeger destroyed them before they could activate. Thinking fast, Ryan disconnects the Mech X4s from Station Dot. Using his evolved technopath abilities, he remotely pilots the robot from inside the station. Traeger follows Mech X4 into space, believing Ryan is still inside. In his giant monster form, he tears the robot apart, ripping open the cockpit. It's empty. At that moment, Ryan activates the robot's final attack. Mech Execute. The X-beam fell directly into Traeger. A massive explosion lights up space, visible even from Earth. As Traeger is destroyed, the Red Blossom network collapses. Across the world, billions of infected people regain control of their minds as the infection finally disappears. Ryan wins, but at a heavy cost. The enormous energy drains every bit of his technopath power, completely severing his connection with Mech X4. The damaged robot is falling back to Earth with Ryan out of control, burning up in the atmosphere before crashing to the ground. For the first time since everything began, Ryan feels completely alone. Mech X4 wasn't just a machine. It was his partner, his home, and the symbol of everything they had fought for. Harris says that Mech X4 changed the world, and it changed all of us. Mark quietly adds, "It wasn't just a robot, it was our friend." Veracity confirms the infection is gone, the red blossoms have withered away, and humanity has finally been freed. Spider looks at everyone and smiles. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. And with that, the series finally comes to an end. Personally, I don't think this ending answered every question. What happened to Cassie, the reporter? Where was Leo during the final battle? What happened to Principal Gray after everything? Was her body destroyed along with Mech X4, or is there more to her story? Let me know your own theories in the comments. I'd love to read them. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, Mech Execute, and bye.